How do? Dave Orton here on Racing Post Live. Another Saturday coming your way. So here we are covering all the big races for you in conjunction with our sponsors, the Betfair Exchange. Whew, a northern extravaganza we have. It's all up the northern part of England. Today is what we're bringing you. Delighted to be telling you that we're going to Beverley. We'll be going to Haydock again. That's 2 weeks running there. And Chester as well. Welcome back, fans, to Chester. Some of the sponsors are saying in their races there. Brilliant times, aren't they? But we will be lifting your spirits even more. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Facebook Live, welcome along to the party. And anything you want to do on Twitter is hashtag RP Live. Who joins us on the panel then this Saturday? The brother from another mother, Charlie Poste, is back. Posty.
Yeah, great to be back on the show, and a bumper card of action, isn't there? You know, so
everyone knows you for winning a Welsh Grand National. However, we have talked about this on the show before, but for any new viewers out there, we must say that this is up your street today because you began at.
Yeah, I was at Richard Fahey's, yeah. I actually rode a winner over 5 furlongs around Chester. One
that
stage,
is almost remarkable to picture.
I was in bearing in mind how unstylish I was as a jump jockey, you know, actually it wasn't too bad. Yeah,
so you know your onions about today, and we're looking forward to try and steer people in the way of some profit.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, analysing the race in action and stuff like that, yeah.
There you go.
Oisin Murphy with toothache starting off.
We will go to Oisin Murphy, has ridden the first winner at Haydock. He had toothache, it doesn't matter. Made of strong stuff, these flat jockeys. He's back on the level. So Charlie's ridden a 5 furlong winner around Chester. That seems remarkable. One man has never done that. Graeme Rodway, the big bear, is back. How are you, G?
The Black Hawks will be lucky to get around. The 5 furlongs will be on its back, mate.
Everyone's imagination just pictured you clinging on for dear life around,
I can see
the wall
a charity angle here.
Yeah, there must be a charity angle.
I definitely wouldn't pass those fitness tests.
The first thing to touch on is you're doing the trading today for Betfair.
I am, yeah. I'll be doing the trading. So I'll be doing the all the charity bets.
As people know, and now listen, it's been going well for you in the paper with the tips this week, isn't it? You've got a 50% strike rate this week.
Yeah, 4 winners out of 8
It's fair to say you're on fire.
I am on fire.
You are on fire.
If you were to touch me, if it wasn't COVID and you would touch me, you would feel the heat radiating.
We are allowed to hug now. That's
true.
But I won't be getting that close, actually, because I don't want to blaze up. But on this show, it's fair to say you could do with a winner.
Yeah, on this show, it's been a bit quiet, hasn't it, in recent weeks?
We called it hoodoo last week.
Yeah, I as I walk into the studio, I worry, whether it's going to happen today or not. Is today the day when the winner's going to come? I'm very, very hopeful. You know, when you're flying along on confidence, and I am flying along confident, I'm very, very hopeful that today is going to be a very good day. So fingers crossed.
It's like someone's got a voodoo doll out there, we said last week, wasn't it? Now, is it since you mentioned that your family line to Racing Royalty from Gosden, that this has all gone wrong? We're not totally sure.
What, you think John and Thady have got the voodoo doll out?
Oh, you've not had a winner on this. You went racing on Thursday night to the great Brigadier Gerald. What happened on your way home?
It was absolutely super to be back at the racecourse on Thursday night. Fantastic night, Brigadier Gerald night. A couple of great results, weren't there? Henry de Bromhead taking out the Henry.
Don't start.
And and of course Yukon Glen winning the Brigadier Gerard. What a fantastic horse he's been. But I ended up coming back fairly late in an Uber, and as I was driving back along the road, they're digging up the road, so there's loads of loose chippings everywhere, and the Uber blew his tyre out on the way home. And we ended up sitting there waiting for an AA to come along.
Why didn't you just get out and get another Uber like most people would have done?
Yeah, I should have done, but you do know I live in the middle of nowhere, Dave. It's not easy. They don't come around very, very close to me. There's not too many Ubers around where I live.
Tumbleweeds and Ubers, yeah.
Absolutely. The guy didn't even have a spare wheel. Apparently nowadays, in the new cars, they don't have spare wheels. So
that foam or whatever.
Well, sometimes some of them have got that one you can do 20 mile an hour on. But
Look, my point being, you've been on a run.
I have been on a run, and I'm very hopeful it's going to continue, Dave.
Well, thank goodness the people will be saying that Barry Orr is back on the show, because he's always hot on this show. Barry, great to have you back.
Good afternoon, lads. Great to be back. Short hiatus for me. Just all quiet before the storm. It's a busy weekend this weekend, and then obviously we're into the Derby and the Oaks next weekend, and then on to Royal Ascot. So the circus really kicks off full and proper. But good to be back. I just want to know, what was the draw? What horse? The horse that you rode over 5 furlongs in Chester, Posty, was he drawn 1?
I don't think he was, Barry, actually, I think I overcame a wide draw, you know my tactical nous. He's called Sir Sandrovich. He wasn't a bad old horse for Richard back in the days. He won a fair few races a sensible sort of level.
I was drawn 10 of 10, he says, to give himself a bit more skill in the saddle. He ended up in a Welsh national.
I'm not sure I knew what was going on. It happened that quick. But,
wow, there you go. So listen, we've got a jockey that knows about Chester. Happy days, and of course, Beverley and all of it. We're going to steer you all the way. You're playing for charity today, Barry. Of course, there comes up the market for the first race. There is the exchange. You'll be showcasing its functionality. Every bet goes to charity. We've been playing in the merry month of May for Bob Champion, haven't we?
Yeah, we haven't managed to get on the scoreboard yet for Bob Champion and Cancer Research, but hopefully today we'll put that right. And like you say, we're just showing the functionality of the exchange. These are not necessarily horses that I'd back personally or that I'd back all the time. I don't need to have a bet in every race either. It's really just to show you guys and show our viewers about the betting exchange and the functionality of it and all the different nuances to it that you can do. So we'll kick off in the first race. Bielsa. No, obviously Leeds fans will have their supporters on this, but I think he could be a bit of a monkey, Dave. His last couple of runs, he's been traded at 136 that day in last day out in York, and he got beat. Now, he did get a bump just before the line. The day before that in Ayr, his first run of the season, he traded at 1.53. A couple of runs before that, again, he traded significantly below his Betfair SP. So he's shot to prominence at the head of the market here. He's 4.9 now. But what I'm going to do, we're going to have 50 quid on him to win, and I'm going to look to lay him back and running. So G-Rod, if you can have 50 quid at 5, and then what we're going to do is we're going to select to lay him at even money, and we're going to look to take an even 200 out of him, because I just want to be flat on him. What you need to do there, select the 200, and select to keep the bet in play, because if we didn't select keep bet, once the race goes in play, that bet would be taken down. So we want this bet to go in play. And basically what I'm looking to do is to get out if Bielsa wins once we lay him in running, or every other horse win us 150. So that's my angle here. I think Chipote's Dream, he's been turned inside out since he went to Tom Ward from Ireland. I think he's a real improver, and he's only gone up £11 for his 4 wins. I think he's a big chance of the race. I've had a few quid on him, but for the purpose of the exchange, I think we can lay Bielsa short in running. So I'm happy just to back him and trade it back shorter in running.
Interesting, Barry. Yes, okay. So the first favourite, drawn 14 of, I'm assuming it's 14, isn't it? Drawn 14 of 16. So on the stand side, Barry thinks he can take him on. He will go short. If you saw his run at York last time, Sylvester de Souza keeps a ride. It's definitely sensed glory, didn't he? It's absolutely. So Barry plays every race for charity. We're hoping to come out on top. Safe gambling, though. Of course, that is our MO here at Racing Post Live. Let's give the floor open to the panel then. Are we taking on Bielsa, Posty?
Yeah, I am. Again, I think Barry makes some really great points. The one that I sort of came down on, I mean, each way, not strong, was Cold Stare of Dave O'Meara's. I think he won this race back in 2019. He goes on slow ground. Oisin Murphy's battled through and had a winner on the board, so that's and it can't be a negative him being on board. So yeah, that was the one I came down on.
Yeah, so let's just be mischievous for a little bit. Ex-apprentice with Richard Fahey, turns Welsh national winning jockey, now point-to-point trainer to the Stars, and you're on a Jumps Jockey WhatsApp group. And there are some famous names on this Jumps Jockey WhatsApp group. And it's fair to say it's caused a bit of a stir, the fact that Otheen's got a bit of a rumbly tooth and he's struggling to ride.
It's all playful banter, as you know. And look, Oisin, in fairness, I don't think he's probably promoted this article that's gone out on the Racing Post. So, I mean, it shows a quiet day for journalism everywhere. But, so there was a bit of playful fun on this group about not all heroes wear capes and stuff like that, So it's all good fun. Dear. But, Jump Jockeys getting their own back today on their flat counterparts.
Quite right, absolutely. And it's all about the Northern Flat game today. Get your interaction in. Viewer interaction makes this show. You know that. Get your social questions in. You can do it on YouTube. Of course, there's a chat that's up. Facebook Live and on Twitter as well. The A-team in the gallery, Rob Lee and Dan Walsh, will be picking them up and ciphering them through. And we should have a bit of time to talk, shouldn't we? As Barry mentioned, next week, it's back for another classic. It's Epsom. We'll be here on the Friday. Oaks and Coronation Cup on the Friday, and we'll be taking in the Saturday as well. Cannot wait for that. We've also 3 weeks to Royal Ascot. Any anti-post selections, Barry will get the sportsbook up. We might just see something that goes for the Wokingham out of this race as well. That's a big 6 furlong handicap on the Saturday. Who's going to end the hoodoo? First time of asking.
We'll have to let this one go through to the wicketkeeper, as our betting editor likes to say, Melrose, when he's on. I like Barry, really. I really dislike this horse Bielsa.
Why do you dislike him? I mean, we've been out for lunch with the assistant trainer, Adam Ryan. I'm trying to get him on the show. You know what I mean? He'd be great on this show.
Well, I like Adam Ryan. I like...
You told him Hello Hume's aim wasn't that good. I mean, I
was right, wasn't I?
I had to overcome that one. He's a
How many
dual
races
Group
is
1
that
winner
one
now,
for?
gone to Hamas stud man, for goodness sake.
Anyway, yeah, no, I agree with Barry. I think he's a little bit soft, this horse. Bielsa. And I think he's a bookie's horse as well. He always goes off over bet, always goes off. He will obviously fall in. Well, at some point, he'll get to the right mark and he'll find the right race and he'll fall in and win one or two. But yeah, for me, he's always a sort of horse you want to take on at a short price. The problem is I couldn't find anything to take him on with, Dave.
So you're liking Barry's play here.
Yeah, I think
Get Bielsa and let the race run for you.
I just wonder with Bielsa why they never tried him back over 5.
He certainly looked at York last time like he might be worth
He's
a
a
go.
keen going
to.
to
He's
it,
a
isn't he?
strong traveller,
Yeah.
and but he almost predominantly has always raced at 6 furlongs.
If you remember, as a 4-year-old, sorry, he had that marvellously progressive season, and then King Power bought into him. They went to Royal Ascot. It didn't quite work out for him. Ever since
He went to a favourite in the Wokingham and Royal Ascot last year. He went
did.
to a favourite, but he's had 2 wind operations as well, which is a bad sign too, isn't it?
Yeah, and he wears the pieces now, and they have struggled to get him absolutely right. But if you go back to the Air Gold Cup, Barry, which you covered on this show, didn't he run a blinder away from all the main action? The talent is there. Is he a little bit soft? I must admit, a double-figure draw for him. The last 3 winners of this race, Cold Stare, as Poste mentioned, his selection against the field, all drawn high. Stand side, that's what we're expecting.
Previous winner of the race as well.
Exactly that.
Cold Stare.
Exactly
yeah,
that.
2019.
He was a bit disappointing last time at Goodwood, but he's the kind of horse that you jump off him, Cold Stare, and he'll come back and bite you. I like Musicality for Roger Varian, who ran in what I think is a strong race on his return at Ascot last time. Pendleton just nutted in the race. Came out favourite now for the Wokingham, I think, on Sportsbook, Barry, isn't he? We saw him winning at York last weekend. I think if he comes on a little bit for that, he's drawn towards the far side, but I think Andrea Atzini will ride him a bit colder. I just thought he was a big price earlier. There's been some money for Musicality, Barry, hasn't there?
Yeah, there has, Dave. Yeah, into 10 now, which is 9-1. Favourite still steady away at 4.9, around the 5-1 mark. Bielsa, Capote's Dream, 6.6. Some money for that. He's relatively strong. Hyper Focus was a bit of a gamble over the last 24 hours. Was into single figures on the sportsbook at one stage. Relatively friendless in the exchange market now, out to 12-1. Cold Stare, like we said, a previous winner of the race, carrying £4 less than when he won it in 2019.
Yeah.
He's of 13-1. So yeah, it's a wide open contest, but I'm happy with the position I'm on. If I was having a bet against the field, it'd probably be Chipotle's Dream, who, like I said, Tom Ward's turned him inside out since he went over from Joe Murphy's in Ireland, and he's gradually brought him through the right way as well, and into a 0-95 now, and I think he'll run a big race.
Tom Ward, yeah, young man making his name for himself, isn't he? And Tom Marquand, big day for Tom at Haydock today, as ever. Tom the Pom, as we were calling him yesterday on the feature show. And as you can, Tom the Pom, it's great, that, isn't it? Tom the Pom, Aussie Tom. Tom the Pom, yeah.
Very good,
Very,
yeah.
very
Yeah.
good. And as you can see there, spotlights. I never ever quite get this one right. There you go. There you go. Spotlights, right there, look. Just there. They've been having an absolute dream run recently on RP Live. They were 6 from 7 the other Saturday. Loads of winners last week. They also agree with Barry. Think he's still definitely more to come from this progressive horse. It is wide open, isn't it? Frankie Dettori has a ride here on Helvetia. Rafe Beckett, no problems. G, first time out with a Rafe horse, is there?
No, they're always fit, aren't they? Funny enough, my old man texted me last night. He said, Frankie Dettori's got 2 rides for Rafe Beckett tomorrow. That's quite interesting, isn't it? And I went, no.
It's not just us that gets it then. The family has to endure it as well, do they?
So they'll probably win now. That's what usually happens. And then when I see him next, that will be all he tell me about. But yeah, interesting booking, isn't it? It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, was progressive last year. In fact, it's in the right colours, I think. And
The,
maps to get a decent run of the race, I think.
Show Me is quite an interesting runner. Big price for the Fahy.
It's being nibbled at as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and I thought that ran quite well last time at Donny, and I think that's got down to quite a nice mark. And the other one that I was interested in was True Mason at a big price.
It's become a bit of a cliff horse for people, that chap, hasn't it?
Remember when he won as a juvenile? He looked like he might be a proper group class juvenile. He's not quite worked
Burke
out.
had him, filmmaking now has him.
But I mean, loves soft ground, don't he? And you said the first race at Haydock was 8 seconds odd slow.
Yeah,
standard. So the ground.
I got that news through from the gallery.
It's going to be
8.5.
very hard work, isn't it?
You think so? And drying ground are going to make it a bit tackier, Posty, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
When you're riding, at Haydock, you want it to be wetter ice so you can get through it.
I think so. I mean, I think it definitely is one of those tracks that you are better off with it almost raining on the day when the ground is slow and letting it be sort of a little bit more loose rather than when it starts drying and gets tacky like this. Haydock.
I called it the merry month of May, but riding the horses out in the morning must have been grim at times this month for May.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say from our point of view, as a jumping person, at least it's meant that the ground has stayed fairly safe. So you take it either way, and
I suppose for the point-to-point fraternity, we speak as they're just getting ready to go in the stalls of the first race, the 145 at Haydock. You lost a lot of the season, didn't you? Basically,
yeah, massive amount of the season. I think we've ended up with a 12-week season, so we've got 3 weekends left. So
the weather was welcome for you on that front because you've been able to get
exactly. We've been able to keep running the horses, so yeah, it's been good. It's been good in that way. But yeah, it's not always the most pleasant way to start the day, tipping down with rain, getting soaking wet. Yeah.
So the crowd's back now at points.
Yeah, they've been back there the last couple of weeks. So yeah.
I haven't been
my return.
Yeah, I love pointing. Do you?
Brilliant. Everyone does.
Great, isn't it?
I've terribly missed it. Absolutely.
Fantastic day out. Like, as in, you know what I mean? I think it's one of those sports when you go to one, you'll definitely go back.
So if you want to get tickets for Point to Point, let's talk about that now. I'm going tomorrow to a place called Kings of Blunt, which I cannot wait for. I've not been there since 2019 when last had spectators. You go to the Point to Point website.
Book your tickets online. So I think there's a certain allocation as it stands, like everything in the world. And book them online, and you get an e-ticket and away you go. And I'd recommend anyone to try it.
You've got to run down at Bratton down in Exeter. Set the
Bratton
wife down to Exeter. Will you sun it up in here?
And you messaged me and said, look, we could do with you on the show today. I was like, absolute jackpot.
I'm coming in, boys. Don't you worry about me. Great to have Poste here. Get your questions in for Charlie. Anything you want to ask him, and G and Barry, or myself as well. We'd love to hear from you. You can do that, of course, on YouTube, Facebook Live, or indeed Twitter. Welcome to the show. If you're new, you're going to learn loads about the exchange. You can see the odds there changing in front of your eyes. We do the in-running, you've got the spotlights, plenty of statistics for you. Like I say, get involved. You make the show as they slowly make their way into the stalls at Haydock. We've got a monitor here in the studio. You occasionally see us looking down. Royal Context, Barry, isn't it? That's playing up a little bit.
Yeah, he's playing up. They've given him a couple of chances now to load, and he's backed out again. But in the market, the favourite's out to 5.7 now, so well over 9-2. Capote Stream's 6.2. He's been really steady. You mentioned one earlier, Show Me. I think G-Rod was giving that a bit of a life. 18.5 now after being matched at a high at 30. So he's one of the outsiders come in for really good support. Hyper Focus went down to 15.5 into 12.5 now as well. But Bielsa just a little bit uneasy at the head of the market. And number 13, Royal Context, looks like he may be withdrawn. They gave him 2 chances there and he didn't go in.
So the favourites on the drift, Barry. So exchange-wise, just tell people out there, you're not worried about your in-running bet not getting matched yet or anything like that, because he's on the slide now?
No, not at all. I think because he's drawn 14, I think he's going to bag that rail. All the action's going to be up that side, and I think he's going to he'll be in front at the furlong marker, but I don't think he'll be in front of the lollipop stick.
Which is exactly what you want when you're laying one in running, because they go low. Barry will be giving us the story of the market, see exactly where your trade might have gone. Let's hope you are getting involved. If you're not, just have some fun, learn about the track. We're giving you real-time reaction and analysis, as we always do.
Royal Context in now.
Royal Context in. Thank you, Posty. Perseverance pays off. There's been a lot of talk again, G, hasn't there, over the last couple of years, and especially last year when they had their restrictions down at the start, the stall handlers, about how much time horses are spending in the stall. Is that something that particularly annoys you, or is there nothing we can do about it?
I do find it a bit frustrating if I back one and it seems to be spending a long, long time in the stall because you've got some 200-1 outsider or something that appears to be causing all sorts of problems. But
are you one of those that's like, look, no one cares about this horse? Obviously the owner's trainer and the jockey are desperate for it to go in.
But what's the answer?
Well, Posty, I
think that's the $1 million question, isn't it? What is the answer? As in,
some things with
now Royal Context is not happy about.
Talking about livestock animals here, aren't we? You know what I mean? There's not some things in racing we're never going to be able to answer. Like your man with the flag at the start. Sometimes jump jockeys are just going to mess up a start, G.
Yeah, well, just. Used to have a friend who always used to love to lay horses on Betfair that played up in the stalls.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think there's an angle there?
Oh, I don't know. Barry should be telling us about this. Barry mentioned Hyper Focus, another horse here for Tim Eastby. He's having a great start to the season. He loves the slop. Course and distance winner. Right then. Good luck wherever you're playing then. It is the 145 at Haydock. It is 6 furlongs. The burn-up begins. Let's have a look and see exactly where these jocks are going to go. Pretty much everything was okay out, I think. And on the far side, I saw him win when I went back to Windsor the other night. Punch Bowl Flyer doing what he does best under Charlie Bishop. Far side then, we think the pace will be. Somewhat surprised by that. The jocks are not coming stand side. Hyper Focus leads them down the middle. Air Raid, unsurprisingly there. Bielsa, a little bit further off the pace than we might imagine. Helvetia under Frankie Dettori, he's there. Where's Musicality? Off the pace already, my selection on the far side. He must have another 0 on him by now. OK, where are we going, guys? What can you see, Poste?
Well, Tim Easterby's horse Hyperfocus travels very strongly down the middle. Dave Allen, three-time course winner. But I think the far side have it, Dave, as they're sort of quickening past the 2-pole. And
here comes Cold Stare.
Cold Stare's coming into it, yep.
Show me there as well.
Punch Bowl Flyer, though. I tell you what, Bielsa on the near side. All too late for him, G, is it?
I think it is. I don't think they're going to catch this, are they?
Paddling.
Punch Bowl Flyer, he's gone, hasn't he?
Who's this on the near side coming out? True Mason, is it, G?
Here comes Bielsa.
Here comes Bielsa, finally, surely not. Bielsa SDS, is he going to
wide
get
apart?
He is. Bielsa has got up.
Oh, no, I don't think he did.
Got up.
I don't think he did.
I think he did.
I think he did. It's a close finish. We'll go to Barry in a minute. We'll see the slow-mos it go. One thing we can say for you out there, you're watching the race, looked like a bit of pudding at Haydock, didn't it, for the horses to get through. It's on the nod. Woo!
Oh,
tight.
Punch Bowl Flyers 2-1 on the exchange on the photo finish. Bielsa 2.7. We got matched, thankfully. Bielsa, if he has won, it doesn't cost us anything for the charity. We're zipped. But if anything else in the race, obviously Punch Bowl Flyer, if that wins, we win 150 quid kick-off for the charity. So fingers crossed. I think that's what suited Bielsa. There was nothing around him. He had a freebie down that stand side by himself. He'd nothing to worry him out of it. But I think he's just nutted on the line. Oh, maybe. Yeah, Punch Bowl Flyer 3-1 on now in the photo.
This is the beauty of this show. You can see the exchange in front of your eyes. People are betting on the photo. Then we're seeing it once again. I tell you, has he managed to lose a photo finish again, Bielsa here, G? You said you dislike this horse. Again, loads of people would have backed him each way, and they just all he's going to go there or thereabouts in these sprints. It's just a case of getting the luck.
He did that much wrong there. I don't know.
No. There will be people. It's been called Punch Bowl Flyer, Barry. Has one. Aye.
Well
off to a flyer.
Happy days.
Well done, Barry.
That was a bit closer than I thought it might have been there. But on one hand, I was glad to see him matching at evens, but he's getting there with every stride. But thankfully, Punch Bowl Flyer, we get 150 quid on the board for the charity.
Oh, the viewers will be delighted that Barry is back with an absolute flyer. He's had a bit of a breather. He's back for you. If you followed him, Barry, let us know. What do you make of Bill? I'll tell you what, Punch Bowl Flyer, in contrast, let's just concentrate for a minute. I saw him at Windsor, as I said, May the 17th, when the crowds were allowed back to Windsor. Crazy night there. It was absolute pudding-like. And he just got to the front, and he just absolutely loves it out there. He had to work hard for that lead postie, didn't he? But he's just kept going.
He did, but he's got bags of toe, hasn't he? On slow ground. I mean, he seems to relish those sort of conditions, and hard work at Haydock, got out there and just about clung on, didn't he?
Yeah, and at far side, near side, you know what some people are like. It's where the pace is usually. I've got to feel a bit sorry for Bielsa because he didn't really get a lead for as long as he wanted. SDS, he attacked too far, got some criticism at York last time, held on to a bit longer this time. What have they got to do to win a race with this horse?
Well, yeah, he's looking a bit unlucky now, isn't he? After, I mean, he could have easily won, couldn't he? Half a stride, he would have been in front and we'd have all been lauding him as a winner. And, he just does strike me as a sort of horse who is, a race is going to fall his way, but it's going to have to fall his way rather than him go and win it.
Well, he's going to go up another couple again for this, isn't he?
And they're not going to run him over 5, having looked at that, are they?
Not at all, actually.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, if anything, it was better the further he went. Hyperfocus has run a blinder. Tom Segal, Barry mentioned there was money for that chap. He was up there for a long way. True Mason's run really well. Is this now the time to start getting on the True Mason bandwagon? Phil Makin's a young trainer, isn't he? He was a good jockey trying to make his way up north.
Yeah, he ran very well, True Mason. The worry would be, of course, that now, finally, after weeks and weeks of rain, it looks like we might get some beautiful sunshine over the next few weeks. Fingers crossed.
And I'm feeling positive for you today, G. I think the bear is going to get the hood off his back because morally you almost gave us a winner there, didn't you? I think we can't actually notch it up on the board, I'm afraid to say, but you pretty much said, I don't like this race with punting and I'd be with Barry. I'd be taking... I mean, you almost got it terribly wrong, but I think...
That's the margins, isn't it, really?
That's the margins in racing, absolutely.
That's the margins between being a genius or...
We put our necks on the line on this show, don't we, Barry? And so we get it right, we get it wrong, that's how it is. I've had a couple of good weeks, so you know what's going to happen today. Be careful with what I'm putting on. I mean, Musicality could not have run any worse in that. But
he was 70 after going to furlong on the exchange, Musicality. Listen, just a little wash up there in the Woking and Punch Bowl Flyer, 16-1 from 25-1 on the Betfair Sportsbook. And the runner-up Bielsa is 12-1 from 16 for the same race. Yeah,
again, I think, Barry, that Bielsa for these big sprints now, it's mapped out, isn't it, for him? Goodwood, back up to Air. Maybe Air's the one.
He went off favourite in the Wokingham last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he disappointed as well. I couldn't have him. I'd taken him on every day.
Would you fancy either of the first two for the Wokingham on the back of that?
No, maybe not.
The horse that Dave mentioned earlier, Pendleton, that seems to be all the rage in the Wokingham market.
Yeah, it's owned by a guy called Dave Armstrong, as you know, with the famous red colours with the spotty hat. I'm trying to think of the great mare that Michael Dodd.
Is it named after the great Victoria Pendleton, who was well known in the point-to-point fields? Poste.
Absolutely.
Yeah, could well be. Yeah. I mean, Mason, did he not own Mason as well? David Armstrong?
Mason, now the sire for Richard Fahey as well. What was the Mecca's Angel, of course?
Mecca's Angel, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it's those colours. He could have run a lot.
Did he own that, did he?
He had a nice winner yesterday, hadn't he? The same guy in Haydock.
Yeah, that's it. So he could have run a lot of horses in the Wokingham. He's got one entry. It's Pendleton, and he just got touched. So Pendleton, we think for the Wokingham is a big player. Of course, you need absolutely everything to go right. Do you remember last year? Hey Jonesy just did it, didn't it? Kevin Ryan, Kevin Stott, that great double he had, of course, because Hello Youmzain, the great Hello Youmzain, stuck his head and managed to win it. All right, should we go to Beverley, Barry? We have got the Hillary Needler, a long, well-established 2-year-old fillies race.
Yeah, it's a cracking race. It always is. Kyber Crystal, your favourite at 3.6, thanks to obviously second to Ebro River, the horse that won the National Stakes in Sandown on Thursday evening. Looks a real type that he's one of the fancied horses for the Coventry now, Ebro River. But Kyber Crystal, your favourite off the back of her run, 3.65. Hester Prynne is 7.6. Lady Ersum. Jilly Cooper, 8.8. Big. I'm sure you're a big fan of hers, Dave. But I fancied Hester Prynne. I thought you could mark up her win last time. She won a length over Alaskan Jewel. Alaskan Jewel didn't really let the form down. Was only beaten a little over 6 lengths in the Marygate by Nymphadora. She got bumped on the start, just after the start. She had to come around runners as well that day. She's by Mondelez, who David O'Mara also trained, Grade 1 winner. Course and distance form, I always like that. So we're just going to have 50 quid on Hester Prynne to win. Just a basic, straightforward 50 quid win. But what we're going to do is we're going to select the price here. So it's 6.8 at the moment. We're going to move it up to 7.0, and that will go over into the lay column because we're not taking the price, we're making the price. We want someone to come in and lay us that bet. So Hester Prynne at 7.0. Hopefully we'll get matched. I think we should, because she has been on a little bit of a slide. She was as short as 5.0 earlier on today.
Yeah, she did plenty wrong and had a bit of hard luck and still got up, didn't she, over course in this last time? Drawn in 10, it's usually a low draw that you want on the straight track, G, isn't it? Where who's in 1? Let's have a little look down. May Blossom, the David O'Mara second string there for Hambledon Racing.
Is that draw bias still as pronounced as it always was? Because I mean,
they did a lot, didn't they, a couple of years ago to try and rid of it. Maybe not actually. I wouldn't say you want to come stand side, which is very high, but sort of 4 or 5.
I just remember back when I was riding around there, Dave. You couldn't win if you
another 5 furlong winner by any chance.
Actually, same horse.
Can we look up this horse? What's the horse called?
Sandrovich. Look him up.
Sandra. I seem to remember the name. I do. Please tell me we've got replays of it. I'm sure we have on there in the members section. Everyone's looking now at the complete opposite to Cooper's Square, where you whistled into the home straight of Warwick, thinking, I've got it. On this one, you're just terrified throughout. What people don't know about Beverley, and we'll come to you with this post if you don't mind. I've been there. I was so surprised at how stiff it is.
Yeah, you have to finish off like really.
It's like Towster, isn't it? It's like
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, it's a stiff old climb and on a bit of slower ground. You need to stay well. Yeah.
When you watch races, G, at Beverley, if you're on a horse that attacks 2 furlongs out, it's a slow old watch, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the second stiffest finish in Britain behind Pontefract.
There you are.
And that is the reason, a sort of tenuous link here, but there is a link, that I am tipping May Blossom to try and end the hoodoo here, because this May Blossom really caught my eye winning at Pontefract.
There we are.
Over 5 furlongs when she set a really, really strong pace on the far side rail and looked for all the world like she was going to get beaten by a horse that I can tell you now was called Coonan. And a furlong and a half out after setting a strong gallop at Pontefract, Coonan come from off the pace. I'm right alongside her, and I thought, well, he's come from off the pace, stiff finish, she'll curl up. But she really stuck her head down, May Blossom, that day, and she won by a head in what was quite a good time, according to your lads at Race Form, Dave. And I like the Race Form speed figures. I think they're very, very good. And
they like you too, G. They like you too.
There's a mutual love between us and the Race Form lads, myself and we there was only 3 horses in this race actually that hit the par for this grade in race form. Kyber Crystal being one of them, Lucy, Lulu and May Blossom. And I like May Blossom out of them all because of that form on the stiff track at Poste and the way she really finished off her race. Now, of course, everyone's going to go, well, what happened last time at York in the listed race? There's it, the Mary Gate.
I was about to ask that exact question.
I watched the race and just nothing went right from the start. She was bumped coming out the stalls. She was awkward coming away. Then she got bumped, and I just, she's a filly, 2-year-old filly.
It's not hard to forgive a run at York, guys. Is it? Especially a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
It's a red herring track.
If she comes back to the Pontefract form, she's drawn 1 right on the inside, get out on that far side. I think she could go really well here, May Blossom. So I'm
we've covered the outside stall. We've covered the inside stall. Posty.
I'm with Barry. Hester Prynne for me as well. I thought it was a likeable performance first time out. I think Beverley course and distance form is no bad thing whatsoever. And it's I'm sure Jeff Turnbull they had Mondia least as well, didn't they?
Some serious horses,
And again, I'd have thought this could be a little flagship horse for him starting off as a sire.
She fits a lot of trends for this in the fact that she's course and distance, as you said, but once raced maiden or novice winners. 5 of the last 10 have won.
How many debutants have won this? Because there's quite a few debutants in this.
Well, there's one very interesting one for Robert Cowell. They're in the gates. Off we go.
And they're off.
4, the Hillary Needler. Used to be a listed race, got downgraded to a conditions race, but you can still see a Royal Ascot filly. Will that be the case here? I'll tell you what, Gilly Cooper's got a right head of steam about her. She's up there in front on the rail. As we can see, Hester Prynne up there as well, looking for the favourite. Kyber Crystal, going to need a pace collapse if you're on the
going fairly fast, would you say, Dave?
May Blossom's out there back as well. They're going rocketing, aren't they?
Gallop, yeah.
If you were on this leader at the moment, would you be thinking, Poste, you've gone too quick?
I'd be concerned, as we've already flagged up, the stiff finish and the way they can climb, they can tread water through the last furlong here.
Yeah, now we're on the climb then. Gilly Cooper said in the paper today, a lovely headline. It's the nicest thing to have a horse named after you, said Gilly. Well, this one's got ability, Gilly. That's for sure. Going to give you a big day, but not today. OK, the pace is starting to collapse. Who's it taking up? Lady Airsom then for Kevin Ryan. Not good enough, though, because in the yellow cap, Gilded. Oh, wow, Carl Burke actually coming back. Unbelievable. Wow, we've seen a horse rally as Lady Airsom takes it from stall 11. Wow, so got across. They've got one there, the Ryan team, haven't they, for sure. Very few got into that, as I'm sure Barry Orr will tell us the market will reveal.
Yeah. It's interesting. Another course and distance winner. We were just mentioning beforehand how crucial that was. Your runner-up, Gilded, who was well supported in the market, matched a low of 1.28 for over 200 quid. Your favourite never got into the race at all. That traded high from as soon as they broke the traps. But the winner, Lady Airsom, back to the high of 11.5, had a Betfair SP of 7.0. So didn't go one back.
Wow, OK, so nutted in the previous race was Bielsa for Team Ryan. Can't keep a good yard down, however. They'll be screaming this one home. Lady Airsom then, she's now 2 from 3G. That was course and distance form as well. I wouldn't say we dismissed her, but that's stall 11. We weren't totally sure. Thought some more might improve past it, but lovely attitude there in the final furlong, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance because they appeared to be going really fast. I mean, the horse that I thought was going to lead, May Blossom from stall 1, she was nowhere near quick enough.
Did she blow it?
No, she was bang there, but she just weren't fast enough.
Right.
So there must be a fairly decent types in front. The hot favourite was hard at it from an early stage, had absolutely no chance, and I thought we saw a fairly decent race there, Dave. What do you think?
Gilded ran a blinder, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 22nd of May, we bombed out at York. You're saying about York writing off a run there and bounced, well, not bounced right back, but showing that runs would be all wrong. And
showed loads of pace over 6 that day. And
yeah.
Again, probably has just met one here, hasn't it? With the greater experience. Look out for Gilded. Nick Bradley, also that. Nick Bradley, of course, going to have a supplement for the Oaks, isn't it? The George Bowie who we all love, whose name totally escapes me at the minute. The dual listed winner for them, of course. we'll get that up for you, which is
Do you
great.
think sometimes, like when with these 2-year-olds, when you think they're going too quick,
Mystery Angel, was it?
Mystery Angel, thank you, Barry.
when they're going too quick, but because they're sort of green and babyish, it takes some of them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
They
Well,
just
the favourite,
they blow their rhythm.
What did you think about the favourite out there? I mean, talk about culture shock there, that pace.
We're just on the back foot from the word go. And like I say, irrespective of the fact that they probably did go too quick, didn't they? Because they weren't exactly picking up through the last furlong. But at the same time, some of them get behind the bridle early on, like as in don't travel. And they just can never really get back on an even keel.
Would that be frustrating for Connections, thinking that actually she had quite a hard race that she'd never had a chance of winning? Or is it just a case of
Crystal?
Yeah, or just a case of draw stumps, will freshen her up, she'll be back, it'll be fine. Because mentally, it's either a real education or it's a culture shock.
Exactly, but I think that's down to the individual horse, isn't it? Some of them mentally can brush that aside and move forward from it. Yeah, like it could have an impact on some, because like you say, she jumped out the stalls and basically been pushed along from the word go, and you can't have an easy race like that.
I thought she'd run a lot better. So, as the Hillary Needler, then, will we be hearing afterwards from the Ryan team that perhaps we have seen one that might go for the Albany, something like that? Or the Queen Mary, of course.
She got a quote of 20-1 introduced in the Betfair Sportsbook market, Dave. 20-1 for the Queen Mary. That's a market headed by Ruthin and Nymphadora. Ruthin 5-2, Nymphadora 8-1, 20-1 first show to winner.
Okay, yeah, Ruthin, of course, Wes Ward's speedster, who's going to take a lot of beating in that, according to a lot of judges over there. Can't wait to see Wes Ward. Next month, of course, we're the merry month of May. It's starting to warm up there. It's starting to warm up here in the studio as well. Welcome along if you just joined the party. Racing Post Live, myself, Dave Orton, Charlie Post back in the studio, Graeme the Bear, Rodway and Barry Orr. He's already been off to an absolute flyer for you out there. Okay, we've got to go back to Haydock, actually, because it's speed all the way here at the start of the show. It's the listed Achilles, I should say. And we have some real old favourites here, Barry. El Astronaute. Is there after his win at Chester, he went into the legend status a little bit for punters, didn't he?
He really did. He had gone a furlong before the others even got out of the stall in Chester. It was just amazing to see. He's such a speedball. And it's going to be a big day for John Quinn and the owner, Mr. Harmon. They've got another nice horse later on, Safe Voyage. So it could be a big race double for them. What I'm going to do here, though, Dave, King's Lynn is favourite. I think this is all wrong. At 5.4, I think he's an absolute monkey, King's Lynn. I've watched it. I've watched it on several occasions now, and I've watched back all the racing for the gelding. Chester, BSP of 2.30, trade at 188, beat. Newbury 305, beat. Doncaster, trade at low 1.75, 8-11, beat. Had a Betfair of SP of 8.3 that day. Ayr, trade at 9-4 in running, got beaten. Doncaster the time before that, traded at 7-2 on and got beat. So definitely question marks about King's Lynn. There's so much pace in here as well. I think Count Dorsey has a chance. I think Tarbouche has a chance. El Astronaut obviously has a chance. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay King's Lynn, but I'm just going to lay him in running, please, G-Rod. So just if you click on the lay button, and we'll look to lay an even £100 King's Lynn in running. I think we'll get him at that price, and just select keep bet, because like I said earlier, if we didn't click keep bet, this bet would cancel at the off, but because we're selecting keep bet, it will go in running. So you don't need to have all these big sophisticated tools to have a bet in running. You can do it by just simply selecting keep bet, and that's what I'm doing here. Looking to lay it at even money. If we don't get matched, that's okay.
Okay. Barry taking on another favourite. Got it right just with Bielsa, didn't he? I'll tell you what, it's lucky you're in Dublin, Barry, because if Her Majesty or the only one from the HRH is watching, you'll be set for the tower, my man, suggesting that she trains monkeys instead of decent sprinters.
I'm sure she watches this show, Dave.
Listen, the social clips are bound to make their way to Windsor, aren't they? I think so. But listen, actually, Barry he's quite right. He's echoing what a lot of people out there are thinking. However, I still spoke to some judges yesterday that said, I think tomorrow will be King's Lynn's day. I was like, come on, man. I think it's the form with Starman at Doncaster, isn't it? Of course, he's now nearly favourite for the Diamond Jubilee, Ed Walker's Star Sprinter. And he just looks like a Doncaster horse to me. It's got to be the Portland later on, isn't he? He's 1, 2, 3 there or whatever.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
And how can he be favourite here, Posty? Because the handicapper has got him £11 off El Astronaut.
Yeah, the weights he's got no chance.
And they're at level weight. So are you taking this on?
Yeah, I'd be against King's Lynn.
So am I.
And I've actually put up Tarbouche. I thought he He ran well on his comeback run, second run now after a wind up. Again, at the weights, he's sort of relatively well in at the weight. He's got a solid chance, and it was an each way play. Just nothing that I'd be mad keen about. I mean, personally, I'd love to see El Astronaute win.
Oh, we all would, absolutely. And Dan Walsh, who's doing the graphic mixing out there today, he's a judge, right? And he likes to look for these weird angles in the gallery. And he said it's the Quinn double today. And as Barry mentioned, we've got Safe Voyage going later on.
I'm keen on Safe Voyage, yeah.
Yeah, so listen, absolutely. So a lot of people playing up the Quinn Voyage, they've got remarkably similar profiles in that, apart from distance, those two horses. So
there's something
so
tremendously exciting about a horse with just unbelievable pace.
Electric. Yeah. But the problem is for him here, the reason why I've not tipped him is because there is, as Barry mentioned, blistering pace. Yeah. Maybe not around him. Ornate, is there are quicker horses out the traps than him? So does El Astronaute have to have it his own way first and foremost?
I'm not sure he does. He is a speedball, though, isn't he? Do you think they'll lead? Ornate might lead him. I don't know. They're
drawn right apart from each other. But as we saw in the first race, the jockeys aren't going to necessarily come stand
the first race, the winner was 6, second 14, third 15, fourth 8, 5 11, and 6 2. So basically all over the place. It didn't appear to have too much of an effect on the result, the draw, did it?
Word on the time, it was basically the 1:45 was just under 3.5 seconds slow. So that's actually, considering we think it's tacky ground, it was quite a good time there. Round course, we think probably a bit worse than the straight course if you're going on the early times.
Does that go about what you're saying, though, that often biases are more about where the pace is rather than anything else?
Totally, 100%. In the modern racing era, maybe even 10 years ago, you might find a track where you knew one bit was good. And it can still happen, of course. The drainage work and all that sort of thing. But the big courses, let's concentrate on them. At Ascot, for example, we had a theory recently, didn't we, saying that the stand goes over and shaded area on the stand. I think those days are pretty much over. Even though you see the taps on if you're there, when you used to be able to have a drink late at night at a race course in a box or whatever, you used to see the taps going on and thinking, I'm not sure about that. But these days, it's where the pace is, isn't it?
I'm unsure about whether there is, whether it's just a thing that punters have got in their mind. Now, of course, there are obvious tracks where there is a huge bias, like Chester.
Lingfield.
Lingfield can be a bit like it, can't it? And Sandown used to be like it, didn't it? Where you wanted to be on the far side rail, but nowadays maybe not so much. But it was really strange the other night, there was a 5 furlong race, and now all the jockeys seem to want to come over towards the stand side, so they left a huge gap up the rail, and the winner came up the rail.
Is that the only race you can remember, the first?
It was early on the card.
It was all fuzzy after that, yeah.
He remembers the Uber driver's name, but not Gerard.
I don't always think that it's pace. I think that it is the side that runs the race more efficiently than the other side. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that is obviously almost impossible to call before the race. I just think it's one of those factors, unless it's Chester or somewhere where there's an obvious reason why there should be a bias, it's one of those factors that's overplayed.
Before we get G's selection and my selection, Chris Timms comes back onto the show and opens us up. Regular contributor Timms is, and he says, El Astronaute, best bet of the day for me. Nap time for Chris Timms out there. We know you have a lot of success, my man. We'll be wishing you the best. Are you hoping that there's no pace around the great veteran early doors? Do you know who I can see getting a really nice toe for him? He's got loads to find on the book, and it needs a bit of imagination. But I want to know, Barry, what price Ishvara is, please, with Tom Marquandon. She's drawn 11, very close to El Astronaute. She loves Haydock. She cannot have it soft enough. We haven't seen the best of this filly. She ran really well on the Rollies course at Newmarket last time, where she'd come all the way around the houses and finish second to a horse called Arecibo, who could have a big say in one of the handicaps at Royal Ascot. What price? How many place markets have we got, first of all, Barry, if you don't mind?
Place markets here, we have standard 3. You can go down to 2 places, or you can go as big as 4 places.
What is she in the 4 places?
In the 4 places, Dave, which is trading at 55 in the win market, has been as high as 80. In the 4 places, you can back her at 7.6.
Yeah, I like that. She's a strong traveller. Thank you, Barry. When she won at Haydock, she was 40 to 1 shot, for example. And Robert Cowell, he's having a really good time of it again, Robert. And she could surprise a few. In a race where I like so many at the top of the market, I find it difficult to choose between them, really. G, where did you go? Yeah,
this was another one that I was going to let go through to the wicketkeeper here, Dave. But I tell you what, if I'd known El Astronaute was going to be trading at around 8 on Betfair at the off, I might have been half tempted to send him in as a selection.
You're with Chris Timms.
I thought that El Astronaute was going to be a fairly short price favourite for this race. Not very short, but fairly short. I was thinking around 4-1, 7-2, and at the moment you could just have got about 7-1 on Betfair. So eight on Betfair, and that to me is a big old price. Obviously drawn on the stand side. Be looking to blast up those rails.
So you haven't actually pinned your hopes to the official thread. We saw this with Bielsa, by the way.
This will not technically count if it wins.
So, all right, all change ship. We'll just jump onto...
I'll claim it. You know, like when they go to the dubious winners panel.
The dubious goals panel and that.
Independent panel saying, let's ban Rodway. Okay, all right. So, look, we've given you a range of opinions. Two, of course, going down against Kings Lynn. I think we all are, aren't we, basically? Tarbouche for Poste. And Tarbouche, he's got to give weight away, hasn't he? I thought he smacked of a horse that was going to improve off that Musselburgh run.
Yeah.
I looked a little bit closer at his profile last time. It tends to be he just comes good in the autumn. He's another 8-year-old, isn't he? But
yeah, he is. I'd like to say second run after a wind up as well. It's a speculative one more than anything. What about El Jadi, Robert Cowell's other runner?
That would be his first string, Charles Bishop, on a quick double, a pace angle again. Joined Robert last year, I think it was, and went through the Greys, didn't he, G? And tough horse.
Yeah, I think I looked at the pace map for this. There are about 5 or 6 of these, all led last time out, so it could be a right burn up. Although I was chatting to someone the other day and he was saying, I do a bit of work for the jockeys and, I just tell them where they want to be in the race. So I go through the race and I say, this front runs, there'll be a massive pace here. He said, so I tell them to then... slack off and wait, he said, because I think there'll be a lot of pace. But I think there's a few more than one person doing that for quite a few jockeys. And once they all do it, sometimes it doesn't always materialise.
You can often find that, though, where you think races are going to be run at frenetic early fractions and it just doesn't happen at all.
We've said before on this show, Posty, that the Spotlight writers of old, that some of the legends of the Spotlight team used to sort of get together and say, look, if we say that this is not going to get an easy lead, you know what I mean? Because it's quite obvious it's going to get... But the jockeys all started reading Spotlights, of course, in the weighing room. They'd sit in there and chill out and all that sort of stuff. And they read it and they go, well, hang on a minute, I'm not going to lead then, all that sort of stuff. At what point, I keep coming to this with jump races, at what point do the jockeys get down and say, are you leading today then? Because of course it goes on. Yeah,
without doubt it goes on. What you tend to find is certainly in those lower grade staying races that everyone wants a prominent position. I think more often than not, you hope that people are going to use their head, aren't they? Even if everyone's going to jump off upsides in front, that you get over a couple of obstacles and then you let the race settle down. There's no point taking a horse off its feet if the pace is so strong because something else is setting in, which then can open it up to the one being in front can drop anchor and all of a sudden have it relatively easy. So I think it's a very difficult thing to get it right all the time, which is impossible.
It's another one of those factors that we were just talking about the draw that you can overthink as a punter.
Oh, that's it. Well, the jockeys are probably doing it as well, aren't they? Yeah. Especially if you're a young jock who's maybe got just 1 or 2 rides on the card and one fancy one in particular. You've been thinking about it since the moment you were jocked up on it, right?
Yeah, of
going
course.
through it all in your head.
Plan it all out and try and make sure you get it right. Do you want more opportunities?
Trying to be too clever sometimes. Yeah. But of course, we don't have to, as punters, make this decision before the race because you can bet him running on Betfair. So you can just wait till they've jumped off and see what's happening. See if you think they're going too fast. See if you think they're going too slow. Then you can make your decisions from there.
Yeah.
And another thing that just talking about the way that El Astronaute has drifted out on Betfair. Here, I don't always see that as a huge negative. I find a lot of the time nowadays, horses are priced up very defensively overnight and in the morning because a lot of bookmakers are a little bit worried about these gambles or being stung, basically. So horses get priced up defensively and they actually reach their real price nearer the off on Betfair. And it's become one of my new strategies, almost one of my new theories, Dave.
It's about time. What are we? We're roughly about nearly an hour in.
At that time, aren't we? One of my new theories has basically become look at the early morning markets, and I've just always got an idea of what sort of price I think a horse should be. And 9 times out of 10, if horse is 9-4 favourite, it'll be 9-4 favourite across the board with every single firm nowadays. You rarely get firms that will stick their neck out and put 11-4 on a general 9-4 chance. And I can almost guarantee you that horse is going to be bigger on Betfair come nearer the off. And one of my new strategies is actually to forget trying to get these early prices and watch them tumble, because it's almost impossible to do nowadays because those markets are priced up so defensively. So the best way to play is just to wait until later in the day, wait until 5 minutes before the race, and the market is strong on Betfair and you can get good prices about horses that were trading at much, much shorter on Betfair. And just because they've drifted doesn't always necessarily mean that they are not fancied. People say, oh, well, it's drifted, but it's not fancied. Well, that doesn't mean it's not fancied. It might just mean that it was put in at too short a price in the morning. Hence, people have gone, oh, that's too short. And then it drifts as a result.
I'll tell you what, Barry, I was about to say he's not had a winner since Flooring Porter won the Stayers Hurdle, but he knows how to sell for Betfair.
Yeah. It sounds like Betfair have a new PR man.
Yeah, get him on the team.
He's thought to himself today on the train, isn't he? Right, if I don't have a winner, how am I going to
keep my slot?
There you go, Betfair. You've just been told. But, of course, he is absolutely right. And again, if you're new to it, you're thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, my horse is 2-1 on the track. Why is it 3-1 on Betfair, Barry? This is the real market, of course.
Yeah, it is the real market. It's the true market. It's 100%. There's no bookmakers' margins in there. It's just punters betting against other punters. We just facilitate that. So, it is most definitely the true market. And G-Rod's right. The liquidity comes, especially on a busy day like today, about 10 minutes before the off, 10 to 8 minutes before the off, and that's when most people are getting involved in these markets, and that's when horses begin to contract as well. Like King's Lynn is into 7-2 now on the exchange, 4.4. Al Jady for Charlie Bishop is 6.2. That's been very, very strong. Al Astronaute, G-Rod marked it up as a drifter, and he's still drifting out to 9.2. Count Dorsey, some money for that at 7.4. Yeah, but he's bang on there, G-Rod, and I'm just shuffling around here a little bit uneasy in my chair. I hope my boss is not watching this.
Well, we'll clip it up socially then, Barry, for you, and make sure that gets up to the highest echoes. Andrew Black thinks to himself, I like the cut of that bear's jib. OK, all right, the bear strikes back, as the gallery just said to me. Absolutely, you cannot keep a good bear down. They are going in. King's Lynn goes in then. I'll tell you what, that wisdom tooth is going to be. Whoa, if he doesn't get this one, I'm old Oshie, isn't he?
Very strong, isn't it? Now on Betfair, we're 4.4 almost, so almost 3-1 favourite.
You just get the feeling that they think that they're running here in listed company. A mark of 95 is get into top handicaps, and probably if you get him right and all your right conditions, is land a big payday. You just get the feeling, Poste, don't you? They still retain faith in this, unlike some punters, but they are coming back in for him.
I mean, the horse is £11 wrong with El Astronaute. So, I mean, the fact that it's tumbling in price and the other one is drifting doesn't really make any sort of sense to me particularly. So you kind of have to have faith in Andrew Bold and their team that they must believe that he's capable of bridging this sort of gap.
The other horse that's solid, that's wrong at the weights, as we call it, that the handicapper would be giving a lot more weight in handicaps, is Count Dorsey, who's been a bit hot and cold so far this season. Tim Easterby, if you saw in your members section, you're looking at the quotes in the paper today, said he's too high for handicaps, for his ability. We're seeing him, in a less competitive field, if you like, in a listed race. So he's also solid in the market as well. Moss Gill, we've not mentioned, coming back off a bit of a lacklustre run, but we saw in the Nunthorpe on that last season, the Group 1s. He can do it. First time cheap pieces for Ed Bethel's horse there. Motogali for Charlie Hills. Been quite quiet, Charlie Hills, isn't he? This is making its comeback. We'll watch him as well. Zargan for Scott Dixon. He's another pace angle. Good luck wherever you're playing in the 2020. It is the Achilles who's going to strike. Let's have a look then, and away we do go. Little bit slow out the back there was the Clipper Logistics horse. That was Count Dorsey, actually, was it? It was a little bit slow out the back. I think it probably was. Yeah, OK, so far side we do go. As El Astronaute needs him down the near side, but far side, wow, I'll tell you what, Tyre Boost, didn't think he'd be leading Posty.
No, neither did I.
I'll tell you what, absolutely not. This is a reverse of what we were hoping for. But
he looks fairly keen as well.
Ornate and Zargan on the far side. Now, near side, is this going to be like Biel? I'll tell you what, Ishvara, I knew she was going to get a lead of El Astronaute and go well, but is she too far back? Count Dorsey, he's got nowhere to go.
Favourite's going well, Dave, isn't it?
Here comes King's Lynn. This is the big moment for King's Lynn. We got a knock there of Moss Gill. Barry's been matched. He doesn't want him to go and win then. Go on then, Moss Gill. What have you got? Go and eyeball him. You'll probably see him off. Oshie Murphy gets the stick out. It's between these two. Count Dorsey too late. Moss Gill putting out a little bit extra. King's Lynn. Oshie Murphy doing his absolute best. This is his big day. He has finessed him home. No problems with the attitude there. I'd say he had a thought about it, but Oisin was on. 2 from 3 so far at Haydock, Oisin Murphy. Nothing wrong with the old gums there whatsoever, is there? Him and Moss Gilgee, a stirring battle.
Yeah, hats off for the Queen. One for the Queen. King's Lynn. Oh, he had every chance if he didn't want to go and do it. But
the orangutan, as Barry Hall called him. He said he was an absolute monkey.
Kept on well, didn't he?
Barry, let's go to you. Thought you had it again. So close, man.
Yeah, Muskill traded low 1.35. I thought I'd be taking on the winner every time. I don't care. Like that to me, Muskill's. I'm a moral victor there. I think moral victor. 8.65 Kings Lynn traded at as a high in running. Would you believe? But yeah, got up and done it just at the finish, but it took him all his time to master Muskill, and that's poor enough form, isn't it?
Yeah, well, listen, we have a bit of fun in here, don't we? We call these horses characters, but every dog has his day. I should be looking for another saying there, shouldn't I? But Kings Lynn has got, well, congratulations, Your Majesty. You do not train a monkey there, that's for sure. And look, he must work the house down at home, mustn't he?
He must be very impressive. I mean, look, and he's going to have to step up a good bit, because I mean, he's got to be going up 7 to 10
well,
for this.
£10 Moskill, who's just been touched off by him, is rated, and they were on the same weight.
Yeah, so you got to.
It's a £10 rise.
Well, whether the handicapper takes it completely literally, but he's going to be up into the low hundreds, isn't he? So you'd imagine it's going to have to be these sort of contests all the way from now on.
He's in the King's Stand, which perhaps we might have said beforehand if we were thinking about it. Of course, Her Majesty, this should be back on track, of course. Which is awesome news, isn't
16
it?
from 50 for that.
What price for the King's Stand, Barry?
16 from 50.
Woo! I mean, that talk about is this? I'll just stick with you, Barry, a little bit on this. Before we move back to Beverley, I think we're going, aren't we, for another 2-year-old race? Is that because? Do you think that traders just respect what punters think about this horse, and probably from his homework? Because 16s, come on, man.
Yeah, it looks very short to me, Dave. Who knows what these traders think? Batash, there's a couple he heads the market at the moment at 9-4. There's a couple of questions to answer him. Oxted's in there as well. A couple of questions to answer. Winter Power is probably one of the more fancied ones at 5-1 at the head of the market. But outside of the top of the market, like, there's questions to answer for a lot of horses at the top of the market. So you're looking for something to come from out of the clouds. And maybe he's the one. Maybe now he's got his head in front. That's only his second win in 7 starts. So maybe that might turn him inside out. He's not for me at any price. I'd be taking him on in Ascot, that's for sure.
There goes my Portland project. I'll tell you what, at Doncaster later on. Handicap's out now, surely. He is in the Wokingham, of course, but if we think he's going to be high early 100s, sorry, it's probably gone. Yeah,
I think you would probably say that was out of the question now. I mean, he's won a listed race. He's going to be moving on to group races. You would say highest RPR before that race, 101. So the sort of average RPR for winners of listed races in Britain and Ireland last 10 years is around about 113.
Wow, okay.
I don't think he's quite that good. If I was rating the race, I'd probably be looking at somewhere around the mark of 109, 110.
A lot of them didn't stand up to their performances. The Astronaut, for example, was a bit, I don't know, he was a bit, the market got it right about him today, wasn't it? Whizzed around Chester. So when seeing off Kings Lynn, of course, not today for El Astronaut. I'd like Chris out there. I know it's your bet of the day. Do not despair, though. We'll hopefully point you in the way of another one coming your way. So, okay, look, we're off and running here. We're back to Beverley. We must go. Is it Beverley?
Chester, I think.
We're going to Chester. Thank you, Poste. Thank goodness you're here. We are going to Chester. Delighted to go back to Chester. Absolutely lovely. I think this is Chester's debut on the track, is it? It must be. And we have a 7.5 furlong race. If you're not sure what Chester looks like, it basically looks like a dinner plate. And the lower you are drawn, the more ground you save. So we try and avoid high draws at Chester. And you probably don't want to get too far back, Posty, do you, these days?
You want to be sort of in the van, don't you?
Where was Sasandrovich? Last, of course, from the worst of the draw, scything through the pack.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was a tactical masterclass on that day. But no, as in, yeah. I mean, I think, like you say, you want to get a good start, be handy the whole way, somewhere near the rail, and that's probably all there is to it, isn't there? Really. Yeah. I mean, it has made things a lot better now they have the cut back, hasn't it? I mean, it opens up things a little bit more. But
I know some punters that dread Chester coming back around because they're just like, there's nothing worse, is there, than finding one behind a wall of horses turning into the home straight at Chester.
Yeah, you're struggling, aren't you? But I do like Chester as a track, both from a visitor's point of view. It's a great place, and it's right in the centre of the city, and you get to, you get all the fun of the fair. And it is a good place for punting for me as well, because it is. We've just talked about places where the draw is overplayed.
Great fun, isn't it, when you back one at Chester? The win, lose or draw, you're going to have a range of emotions.
This is not a place where the draw is overplayed, is it? I mean, this is a place where you do want to be low. Having said that, the draw bias is more pronounced the shorter in trip you go. So 5 furlongs, it's big, and 7 furlongs, I think you can get away really with being anything under 7.
So we're all a fan of the Rudy. We know it's one of your favourite flat courses. We've been doing that to death so far, and it's still remarkable if you don't know.
G-Rod likes it for the day out and the evening after.
Another man that does, because we've teased on the show when we thought we might just be able to come out of all this pandemic and go racing again. Where do you want to go? Barry, I seem to remember you saying the Rudy.
Yeah, it's a great meeting. Everything about it. Charlie's right too. It's great. It's just as good in the evening as it is in the day. And it's one of those tracks. It's so intimate. You can walk under the race course and come up in the centre of the track. It's like Epsom in that the horses have, fans when fans are fully there on both sides, and they're coming up that funnel up the straight, and there's just the roars of people around them. It's a really intimate experience as well for racegoers. It's a fantastic race course, but the draw very, very pronounced as well. And Edge to Lab here. He's drawn 1, and that's factored into his price. He's been as big as 4 to 1. He's into 9 to 4 now, and I think he's a lay all day at that price. No matter what happens, you're getting him at the right price. He races prominent. He's Richard Kingscott in the plate, which is a massive, massive plus around here for anybody. He traded at 3.45 last day, which is just nearly 5 to 2. Now, it was a very, very good race. That has to be said. He just didn't get home, I felt. He traded at 5 to 4 on the time before that in Musselburgh. And again, he didn't get home. He's by Slade Power Sprinter, 7.5 furlongs, well, a little over 7.5 furlongs around here today again. And at the price I'm taking him on, we're going to take 50 quid out of him. He's 2 to 1. I can't believe I'm getting him that short. It's I'm speechless almost. 2 to 1. Happy to take 50 quid out of him for the charity here. And I'd say if he wasn't drawn 1, and that's the big thing here, he'd be 3 times the price he is now at the moment, albeit it was a good race last day. I thought King's Knight, who just got caught in the line in Goodwood last day, I thought he had a big chance, but he's drawn 8. He's going to have to slot in. A lot of these runners that are drawn high are going to have to slot in, almost be ridden as non-jiggers, and just hope that the race develops for them and they get the splits at the right time. And that's what you'd get when you're backing horses in high draws in Chester. But I'm happy to take the favourite on at 2 to 1.
You've got plenty running for you, Barry, including last year's Wokingham winner, Hay Jonesy, who's just drawn 2 off him in 3, and Megan Nicholson for Kevin Ryan, who's already on the score sheet here on RP Live as well. There are other horses, aren't there, like Boardman, for example, in 4. Another Bat came back good last time for David Barron. He's in 7. King's Knight, as you mentioned, is in 8. They're going to need a little bit of luck. That's why I thought, I must admit, I thought El Tilab was one of the more likely winners. I've gone for him, Barry. I see what you're saying. 2 to 1, I think, is short. If you go back to the Chester May meeting that we had, the big one with all the televised cameras going back, he was drawn right in the car park. He ran really, really well. If that hasn't taken it out, I mean, don't get me wrong, not at all crazy about the price. I think Boardman probably should be favourite. I think he's definitely got that upward trajectory. My worry about Boardman is he gets too far back. So it's Eltijab, Edge to
£10 rise as well, Bournemouth. Would that concern you or not?
I think he's probably still got. He's been hiding his light under a bushel, Posty. This horse. This was an Easter Bee Classic. This immature horse, get him ready, and then as a 4-year-old shine, and they're just geniuses with this. But Rob Hornby has just come back, of course, from a spell on the sidelines. He's going to need everything to go his way, I think. So I'm a bit surprised he's as short as 9 to 4. But this is a game of opinions. There you go. So Barry taking on the Fab. I'm with him. Posty.
Another bat for me. I thought it was good at first. The last day, he's only gone up 5. David Barron's someone I've got massive respect for. And yeah, so I mean, he ran okay in the same race as the favourite at Chester. And yeah, horses bounce back to form. Like I say, slower ground. I mean, I suppose, do we know how slow it is at Chester today?
Yes, we do. Dan Walsh in the gallery has put it through to me. Give me 1 second. For the first race, they were 7.27 slow. So
yeah, so it's slow.
Yeah, and I was expecting Chester to be some of the better ground. If you look at it going sticks out there on the BHA website, they said it wasn't that bad. That's again, you're not going to want to get too far back, which is exactly what happened to another bat on this show at Haydock on his comeback. Yeah. I tipped him that down. I knew from Flagfall.
And that's a concern. That is a concern.
They changed tactics a little bit at Thirst last time, and that he wasn't. They just rode him a little bit more promptly. He responded, didn't he?
He did, yeah. And like I say, I just thought slow ground form, back in form. I think the rise isn't insurmountable.
He's one of my favourites, another back, because I like to think I know when he's going to come good again. I think punters out there will have had a good payday in another back.
But they're a sharp yard, aren't they?
David Barron and Connor Beasley. It's just from 7, they're probably going to have to ride him a little bit colder. But there we go. Okay, so G, where did we see this race going? Have we put one up in this race?
Another bat.
Oh, Posty. I feel for you, man. There's another post here. We're having a bit of fun. If you're just joining the show and say, that's a bit harsh, Dave Orton. We're working out that G can tip winners left, right and centre in the paper.
He's been on fire
he comes
this
and
week.
sits in
He's
this
been on
seat.
fire this week. I think that gives me positive confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, I've changed seats. I was in that seat last few times up.
Oh, he's one of those.
Now I'm across.
He's a lucky seat.
I'm back on my lucky seat now. So
He's a lucky
He puts his
seat.
socks on the same way
I've got
every
a lot
day.
of choice, man. So it's a time cost, isn't it? All right, there we go.
yes, no, another bet last time, won at Thirsk in, again, quite a decent time. I sadly sat there and timed the end of this race, and I had him coming in 103%. So at first, that's okay. It's not absolutely going to blow your socks off, but it's okay. You know, for a horse that was up with the pace the whole time in a race that turned out to be quite a good time, I thought it was a solid enough effort, and he was well on top at the finish. Another bet that day. Soft ground will suit him. I'm not so certain about the draw being a huge negative, Dave. The stats say that you're generally all right. Anything lower than 8 is fine. Obviously, 1 and 2 are absolutely ideal. 2, for some reason, is the best draw around here, much better than 1. The only reason I can possibly think that is that if you miss the break from 1, you're absolutely cooked.
Saw it a lot at the
That
Big
does
May
happen,
meeting,
doesn't
actually.
it? You know.
Horses that you just miss a beat at the start. That's crucial here at Chester, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, from a jockey's point of view, you really want to be on the money, don't you? Hit the gates and get out.
If you are on one that just misses a beat slightly and you've been told whatever you do, sit third or fourth on the inside, get that run of the race. If you have to rush your horse, in your jockey's head, are you thinking, what am I doing here? Or
I
is
don't know. I think, like you say, when you know that track position is vital, like at Chester, I think if you do miss, you've got to be aggressive and you've got to hope that they haven't come down on top of you.
You see it a lot, Poste. You don't see a lot of jockeys sitting there thinking, I'll take my medicine.
No.
I know I'm on a good horse, I'm going to get through. They want that.
Yeah.
Even though you missed the beat a little bit.
Because you also know that the ones drawn rider, like you say, they've got 2 options. They either take a pull and drop ride in, which is, we know, counterproductive and to your detriment, or you have to be even more aggressive from the outside, don't you, and hope to get early pace and get over.
It's quite interesting. When there was an interview with Franny Norton in the Post, wasn't there, recently? He was talking about when he rode Making Miracles to win the Chester Cup. And he said, me and Ryan Moore were drawn on the outside. Making Miracles was 15 and Moore was 14. And they said, Moore turned around to me in the stalls and said, right, me and you, we're going to sit first and second here. And they did. So, you know...
If you went back and watched that, which was last one before the pandemic hit, of course, it's remarkable how he manages to get
amazing,
across.
isn't it? From 14 and 15 to both get across and, be up there. It just shows you if you can time that break right and get out on
be a massive. And then of course, you can sort of half pull the handbrake up. And it is a great track to try and sort of start stacking them up in behind because everyone knows you don't really want to be trapped any more than 2 wide, ideally.
Saw a lot of front-running winners at the last
If you do
meeting.
then sit up there, no one's really going to come wide to try and take you on against
obviously,
that.
I've never ridden the track, but it always looks to me...
It's this charity thing.
I love how he said obvious.
It always looks to me like you've got 2 choices as a jockey if you're going well. You either try and make your ground 3 or 4 wide coming off that home bend, which of course you then give up loads of ground to the ones on the inside, or you wait, take your medicine and then pull out when you get the straight, of which of course you are left with a very short space of time to try and make up your ground. So it leaves you with a real decision to make when you're riding there, because of course I've done it many times.
Of course, absolutely. In your dreams, very much so, quite right. We'll leave that one there. All right, so we're a couple of minutes away. Barry, what's his favourite doing in the market then? You sense that people don't really want to take him on, or am I wrong?
No, he's still a 2-1 chance. Bang on 2-1, 3.0. It's 3-1 Boardman, 4.0. Another bat, 8, 10.5 King's Knight, 16 Alexander James, and 20 Bardem. But I think the favourite, obviously he's put up by a couple of hot tipsters as well today when it was a 4-1 chance. I think Hugh Taylor and Andy Holden both put it up, which would, the price crashes off the back of that sort of endorsement. But at 2-1, I don't think they'd be putting him up at 2-1. He's definitely a lay at that price, win or lose.
Yeah, 4-1. When you saw the decks on Thursday, you're thinking to yourself, this horse is going to hit the frame. So how low do you go, I guess, as a punter out there? So here we are today on RP Live. We're all up north. Happy days. By gum, we're happy to be going to Beverley, Chester, in around about 3 minutes' time for you, and Haydock as well. I can see the guys in the gallery probably thinking, what is he talking about? We do have a Northerner on the show today, don't worry. We are par for the course here in the studio, despite the fact we're filming in the capital. I'm delighted to be doing it. We're going to be here next Friday for you as well. Derby meeting commences. We'll be giving you all the big races there, and the Derby itself next Saturday as well. What wins the Derby? There's a question for you out there. Chaps, we've got a couple of minutes before they go in the stalls at Chester. It could take a little while to load at Chester more than anywhere else, can't they? For whatever reason. Derby winner?
I mean, I'm pretty keen on Bolshoi Ballet, if I'm honest.
Price has gone out a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah,
because of McSweeney.
Yeah, Max. I mean, look, as in we actually did a thing with Rory Cleary the other day, which is phenomenal. I mean, he actually said that bearing in mind he actually relatively does all right. He normally rides 25, 30 winners, 400 rides a year. He said that winning the Irish Guineas basically meant that he earned the same amount of money as what he would on a normal year from one race, which tells you all you need to know about those big winners, how important they are.
McSweeney is probably the really interesting one, I think, isn't he?
Do you think he will stay? I know he won the Group 1 over a Mars, a 2-year-old and that, but...
I'm sort of speechless about that one.
No doubt he'd stay.
I don't really know.
You doubt he'll stay?
You doubt. Thank you.
I think there's no doubt he'd stay.
Okay.
I think he'll stay for sure. Yeah, he looked at Ledger Horse when he won the Praetorium, didn't he?
Yeah, possibly. I just wondered after the Guineas, like whether you could, it's a guessing game. Isn't
He's
it?
that grinder, isn't he, G? He's a grinder.
He does have a race
social on the
start,
screen, as you can see, which I'm going to reference any second now. McSweeney, will he stay?
I think he'll stay, definitely.
So he's got to have a huge chance on the figures. That makes it the best horse in the race, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I'm not sure.
£2 higher that we've given him RPRs than Bolshoi, haven't we?
Not certain he'll win, though. You have to give him a higher RPR, of course, because it was Group 1 that he won.
It's Bolger, isn't it, as well? He's just
genius.
Remarkable way. Like Paul Nicholls, they attack the races and they tend to get the horses there. All right, very. Okay, so Dugug Zuru, as I like to call this contributor, who comes on time to time and says, Boardman is my nap of the day. We're getting naps in. That's good to see. Boardman. Well, let's hope he doesn't get too far back for you then. I think he's still a little bit ahead of his mark as well. We've got Thomas Irish HD comes back on the show and says, I think Hyad draw doesn't suit, but down in trip will do each way for me as well. Hyad, Posty?
I think from the draw it's going to be difficult. I mean, look, he's been running okay, hasn't he? Ran all right at Rip in the last day again. But I don't know if he's hiding much away. You know, as in there's a few here that look on the improve to me, and I'm not sure that he is.
Okay, all right. So yeah, again, just going to need everything to go right, Thomas. But I know you've been banging in some big price winners for us along the way. Right, we'll try and get Chester up then as soon as possible because they must be going in very shortly along the way, I would imagine. They're racing at Cartmel as well today, aren't they? And Catterick, it's everywhere up north, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a day for the Northerners, isn't it? Yeah.
I tried to convince my missus to go to Cartmel this week because I'm off.
Did you say, let's go racing on this weekend?
You should go.
I'm off a week. I've never been to Cartmel.
Oh, it's amazing.
Fantastic.
I really want to go.
Have you ever been to Cartmel?
I have, yeah. We sponsored up there a couple of times, yeah. Yeah, great meeting. It's hard to get in and out of, mind, if you don't leave early.
Blink and you miss it type of fare, up by Lake Windermere, isn't it? But they've got one of the best restaurants in the world there as well. A guy called Simon Rogan basically brought up a top chef, and it's incredible.
You been to the restaurant?
I have. 18 courses, can you tell? It was
yeah,
nice.
When they have 22,000 people, I mean, I know they're not going to do that at the moment, but like 22,000 people there for barbecues around the inside, big fairground.
It's an old Roman wall like we've got at Chester.
Yeah, it's wild, yeah.
Yeah, Cartmel. If you're thinking next year, might go for a staycation. The bank holidays they usually race. It's like a very posh point to point, isn't it?
Yeah, and the sticky toffee pudding is legendary.
That's where they say it comes from. There you go. It's the bastion of Englishness up there, isn't it? Pea and ham soup, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, gee, you've got to get up there.
I'm definitely going to go, but I've been saying that for about the last 5 years, Dave.
It's one of those things.
The one thing I've got on my side is that Mrs. R, obviously descendant from the Gosdens, she's desperate to go.
Well, there we are. Perhaps we can convince them to have
I think John's had many winners up there, hasn't he?
Yeah, don't have bumpers.
I'm not sure he'd know where it was. Yeah.
Not even the family connection's going to convince him to try and do a Sheikh Mohammed Jones, Michael Stout, and win the champion hurdle. I don't think. But okay, all right, great stuff. We are now in at Chester pretty much a little bit. They do seem to take a little while about getting in the stalls at Chester. I don't know why it is.
Best backed horse of the day here, lads. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is. Edge to the best backed horse of the day. Into 7-4 now. It hit 13-8 at one stage, but
Wow.
Heading towards 13th-8 again, yeah.
That
Absolute
4-1
bombs for it.
well and truly gone. I could hear in my ear Barry say he's getting absolutely smashed up then. So that delay, you often say the market forms just before the off. Good luck if you are on this plunge then. Barry's against him. I'm with him. Another bat.
Will he be first out?
Another bat then for the other guys in here as well, trying to knock it for 6 then. G-Rod, can we finally get this hoodoo off his back? In goes then the favourite, last in as Barry said then. Let's see where they go. Draw. Crucial start. Crucial. It is the 2:40. How many minutes we over?
Are they holding for so long?
Is it? The
Favourite's gone
favourite's
up.
playing up a little
Yeah.
bit. Where's the hood, the favourite? We should say that. He's off all
away,
right, though.
though.
Jumped up absolutely fine. One that absolutely missed it.
Come on,
was
the bat.
Tad Leal, Richard Fahey's runner, right out the back. Who's going to lead then? Looks like Estijab just in front. I keep calling Estijab. It's not Estijab. It's El Tilab. He's up front then. Richard Kingscote in front at Chester. Right off him, Alexander James. First run for Mick Appleby. Alistair Rawlinson. Who's that up there? Hayard for our social out there. Thomas Irish HD. You've got a lovely position. Boardman. He's up there, guys. Not as far back. Tadlil, 1,000,000 to 1 already out the back, the outsider. Gabriel the Wire. He's going to like the place as we know. He's out the back. Also out the back is King's Knight as well. Looking for another back, guys. You're in midfield.
3/4 of the way back, yeah, one off the rail. I think it's okay at the moment.
Okay.
It's A1 position for the Fav, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it
Box
is,
seat, yeah.
absolutely. What you don't want is to see something soft him up at the moment. If you're leading Hay Jonesy, of course, who's just in third at the moment on the inside, you've got to be doing a bit of a tap. You can see the market developing in front of your eyes as they come in, Barry. Boardman must be the
Boardman's
one for
gone
money.
favoured on the exchange. He's gone favoured on the exchange. Boardman at 2.4.
He's
2.5
absolutely...
at the jab, and it's millions bar the two of them.
He's tanking
Boardman,
Boardman.
2's on now.
King's Knight
Travelling,
not done
isn't
with
he?
as well. So here we go. El Tilab, what's he got in the locker? Hey Jonesy tries to kicks now. Richard Kingscote, but Boardman. Oh, this is Archibald-like.
Crazy.
He's on the bridle. What will he find? Favourite goes for it. It's going to take some catching, but this is perfect. This is Rob Hornby arriving himself back on the scene. This is what you do at Chester. You travel on the inside, you peel down the outside, let him fly like an elastic band. Hat trick landed. Sees off the favourite. Barry or new. Hey Jonesy, he's back just in time for a tilt at the Wokingham, which he won last year. And running on there, a decent fourth. King's Knight, give him another chance. I tell you what, Hey Jonesy, big eye catcher there, G. But give us a word about the winner.
Yeah, very easy, wasn't it, for the winner? Gone up £10 for the victory at York, and he absolutely hammered them at York. He's hammered them there. Let's not forget that this horse is half brother, I think, to Quadrilateral, who won Group 1s. Obviously, the Fillies Mile was third in the Coronation Stakes, third in the Guineas. He looks potential Group horse now himself.
You're right for Roger Charlton, of course. Didn't quite train on, did she? But she was a smart 2-year-old. As I said to you, Posty, it looks like a bit of an Easterby classic.
Yeah, I mean, you flagged it up. Well done, yeah.
But, well, I didn't put him up today because I thought he would get too far back. Congratulations to Connect. I love it when Connections and Rob Hornby take a bow because he got so far back at York. Okay, much longer home straight. He must have gone really high at York, I imagine, before he won. And that was the worry here today. That's what the Spotlight writers said as well. They've all read the information. They've looked at the way the race was going to run. They knew the favourite was going to attack Barry. And you flagged it as he was turning in. He started going low, low, low.
Yeah, he certainly did. He was favoured from actually turning in, would you believe, Dave, in running. The runner-up hit a low of 2.12. Your winner for the Wokingham is 10-1 from 16-1 now, Boardman. So he's after coming in considerably off the back of that win.
Wow. Can you find a price on Hey Jonesy for me, Barry, as well, who was third there, 25-1 today? You know what it's all about for him.
Yeah.
It's going to be another repeat bid. And just after the pull-up, something I'd like to talk about on everything that I do in media. Once got told by Barry Ells, watch horses after the finish. It was at Ascot, actually.
See them galloping out.
Because Ascot is great. When you stand at Ascot, you can see them go right out onto the far side, and sometimes some horses just don't pull up. They keep going. That was Barry, great punter Barry Ells was back in the day. So that's a great source of finding winners. I like to look at these, members' replays and look after the finish rather than at the finish. Hey Jonesy there, to me, was way ahead of them. And I know he had the inside run there, but this was surely all about the Wokingham, G, wasn't it?
Yeah, very eye-catching run, wasn't it, from A. Jones? He's well handicapped, isn't he, as well? He's coming back down to a decent mark. So I'm sure that they're hoping that the plan is coming together with A. Jonesy. But just a word on the winning jockey, Rob Hornby. Now, he's becoming a bit of a go-to man, isn't he? He's absolutely flying at the moment. Every time I turn the TV on, he's having winners. And he seems to have a lot of winners at Chester as well. I think... From memory, he had a very good May meeting, and he's around 20 odd % there now, which is fairly good, isn't it, for Chester?
Wow, yeah, of course. Started at the Baldings, really, didn't he? And
Yeah.
I think he had a spell up north as well. But if you're riding big winners for Tim Easterby, it's
Well, they're no fools, are they? And like I think if, like you say, if they're drafting you in for a big ride like this on a Saturday, it probably says plenty about you.
yeah, absolutely. So Rob Hornby, great to see him back strutting his stuff.
Especially one where you're saying like much it won last time, got behind. I mean, like it's a proper jockey's track, Chester.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that was a dream horse to ride in that race.
Of course,
way ahead of its mark.
But like you say, all of a sudden you're going to a different track.
Very astute. Knew not to get there too soon. I just thought it was a perfect Chester ride we've just seen for Rob Hornby. Let me know. Well done, Duguru Zuru. Your nap was in. Keep the social interaction coming. We've got plenty of time in between races to talk about the Derby. Of course, next weekend, the Oaks. Who's going to win the Oaks? We've heard from the guys, Bolshoi, Bally, McSweeney. Will he stay, won't he stay? That'll be the big narrative next week. All right, so we've got to go back to Beverley, haven't we, I think? Are we at Beverley next? I believe we are. We go, okay. It's Haydock. The guys in the gallery going, Haydock. It's Haydock. I've got so much on my screen here. I'm trying to give you absolutely everything that's happening out there today. And we do go back to Haydock. All right, then. It's a group race. We've got two Group 3s for you today. We might be a little bit low on quality, but that's because we give you classics. Group 1s are usually on RP Live. We're having a little bit of a lull, loads of time to chat. The rain is stopping, isn't it? The sun is coming up. Weather's good with you, Barry, or out in Dublin?
Yeah, the weather's great here, thank God, Dave. It's been really fantastic. We've got a wet day on Thursday, and yesterday was a little bit wet, but today and tomorrow's to be 21 degrees. So I think we're sharing that good weather both sides of the Irish Sea, which is a happy change for us over here for sure. Hopefully we'll get a good run at it now like we did last year.
Oh, we had the Dublin rub-off, I'll tell you, in May. We were absolutely sinking, we were. So, yeah, listen, it's great for punters as well, isn't it? You know, usually after the Guineas, you say the form beds down, but when it's tough old ground out there, it's going to take us a little bit longer. June could just be something special, couldn't it? Shall we go for this Group 3 then? It's a Pinnacle Stakes, isn't it, of course? And Barry, why? Tell me, why is Cabaletta so weak?
Yeah, she's out to 3-1 now. Oriental Mystique is your favourite at 3.2 at the head of the market. 4.1 Cabaletta now. It's a strange one, Dave. I can't really tell you. La Luna is 4.4, 7.6. Salsada, Waiting for the Lord, is 12.5 and it's 65-1. The Rag, Alpestina, a non-runner again. I'm just trying to get the graph up here for Cabaletta. It's not. Let me just give me 1 second here. Cabaletta was matched at a low of 2.62, would you believe, Dave? And is out to and a high of 4.6. So yeah, it's really only going one way. It's interesting. Ran into Middleton where Queen Power, who's favourite for the Duke of Cambridge, now won. That was over 10 furlongs, back up to 12 furlongs here. The horse I like in it, though, there's a couple are going to rob Black Type here. I feel it's not really a very strong renewal of this race. Favourites probably have the favourite right in Oriental Mystique and Oisin Murphy, who seems to be riding out of his skin these last couple of weeks. But Salsada, first time at the trip, I think that'll really bring out an improvement in her. She won in air a fillies handicap off 79 last September, then went to the Betfair the Gilly Stakes in Doncaster, the Betfair Gilly Stakes in Doncaster last November. Ran well, was only beaten, not that far, was only beaten 3 1/4 lengths behind a nice horse that day, Shamadi. And I think there's a bit of improvement in this horse, could get off in front and might put it up to them at a nice price. So what we're going to do here, we're going to back her win in place, please. We're going to back her in the win market. We'll just have 25 quid on at 7.8. And in the 3-place market as well, please. And happy to be price takers on both of them, G-Rod. In the 3-place market, she's a little over even money. We'll have an even 25 there as well. So win and place, Salsada for me.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, it's Barry's charity play then. Barry, you were right about the favourite in the last at Chester as well. So you got 2 big fish go down for you. G, is that all housekeeping up to date?
Yeah, we get this is the hardest mouse to work.
Oh, oh God, let's not go there. I mean, yeah, right, okay.
It's on. We've got £25 on Salsada for the place, and we want to be a price taker on Salsada. She's been backed a little bit, so we might have to come down a little bit. It's down to 7.6. Everyone's following Barry in. It's just getting shorter and shorter. This
Spotlight's following Barry in as well. You can see Salsada. So
we'll get this matched for Barry.
So Graham Lee, Jed O'Keefe, stepping up to 1 mile 4. The Mummy won over mile 4, the Dam. So not a worry there. I quite liked her last year. She's not my play though. I thought Cabaletta would probably win this. I thought she was a stronger stayer than Oriental Mystique, or I'm pretty sure would be the faster of the pair. First time blinkers, spoke to Roger Varian yesterday. Very little to put me off. The one thing I'm worried about is the drift, because Varian horses, they're always judged by the money. He's got such a big following, isn't he?
What was the thinking about the blinkers as well?
Just apparently some of the family improved for blinkers. He was speaking to Chris Richardson from Cheveley Park and basically said, we think, they were expecting more from her at York. She ran okay at York. On her best form on the figures, if she returns to it, this is over. Cabaletta wins. But she can be a bit hot and cold. And I said to Roger yesterday, we were expecting a bit more from York, because I saw him interviewed York comeback, and he said, I think she's better than she was last year, etc. You get the feeling she's a good workhorse. And Third Realm, of course, big Derby hope for Roger. Next week, got 3 in the Oaks as well. This would have been working with them. The slide, it's a big slide. I don't think there's been much else.
So for certain yards, would you see that as a major negative?
I know that people say, especially my esteemed colleague sitting in the far side, and Paul Keeley, don't worry about drifters.
No.
But certain yards, they do worry you more than others, don't they? I mean, if Barley Curly, the late Barley Curly, for example, was recently passed, if one of his went out from even money to 5 to 1, you're not backing it, are you?
Probably not, no.
So there are cases, because I knew what you were going to come back with. I was trying to give you a very extreme case.
Yeah.
I didn't suggest.
That's the most extreme case.
You were talking nonsense.
No, exactly. I thought you were going to come back and say, don't worry about the drift day. I mean, this is a man who's gone naught from since Flooring Porter on the show. So, but who is the G-tip?
This is my last race that I'm going to sit out. I've got some strong fancies in the last 3. Actually, my 3 main bets come in the last 3 races that we're covering.
Tricky heat then for you.
Very tough race.
Yeah.
I obviously would have been all over Alpinista had she run. I mean, whoa.
We all would have been.
Wow, I mean, she looked good, didn't she, last time?
That's an easy
I
play.
mean, whether you want to make a case the fact that obviously the favourite is owned by the same person, and obviously maybe they think they can win it with Oriental Mystique instead.
She was entered at Sandown on Thursday night, wasn't she? They said they took her out of the ground.
Yeah, that's would that be right or not?
Well, I had to actually put in the comment in the paper as to why they were out, and it was ground, but they must have looked at the lineup here, and obviously Alpinista in the same colours.
Yeah,
they probably thought, well, it's going to be a bit softer up there, but nice horse Oriental Mystique. She should have got the 1 win to her name, don't she?
Yeah, a bit of money around for La Lune.
Yes. Any chance of that, Poste?
Yeah, I'm with her. Yeah, as in the Nottingham run was good. She's got, I mean, granted different ground conditions here, but she seemed to handle slow ground all right at Newmarket last year and that. So
yeah, she
and
did.
The up-in trip again, I don't see as a concern. And I don't know, first run back seemed to improve form. That might be a filly on the upgrade a little
Henry
bit.
Candy, David Probert, 2 great men to have on your side if you're going into war with a bet on, or a play or a trade, however you want to say it. And he does do well with these older fillies.
Yeah.
What was the very good one in the stripe colours the other year? It beat
Maydole all the time.
Beat Ulysses at Windsor.
Yeah.
What was it called? Something
very tough filly.
Something Forest. I can't remember what it was called.
Cannot
Very
remember.
tough filly who improved no end. Anyway, I still remember being at Windsor the day.
Chain of Daisies.
Chain of Daisies.
That
I
was
really ought to remember that, because I went to Windsor. It was the bank holiday meeting a couple of years ago, and Ulysses, who turned out to be one of the best horses Sir Michael Stud Straight, he got beaten somehow in this Group 3 by Chain of Daisies, and Ryan Moore was on the run, and Chain of Daisies, it was, I can't remember who would have ridden it that day. Oh, Love Nor Toffee, I can't remember these things. And they flashed past the post again, and I was having a bad day, and I turned to a punter that I was with, and I went, we got that one in the bag. Walked off, and then I heard it. I went, no, I wanted to go up and see the judge. One of those moments we've all had on the racecourse, so I'll never forget Chain of Daisies. Ulysses, of course, next year goes out and win absolutely everything, didn't he? But he does do well with these.
Yeah, I think I mean, he's a trainer you've got to respect massively.
And she has been strong in the market, Barry, or hasn't she? La Lune?
Yeah, she has. She's into 3.5 now, Dave, would you believe? So really, really very strong. The favourite is 3.0, so only half a point in front of Laloon is Oriental Mystique, 4.7 Cabaret. That's come in for a little bit of support. Salsada out to 8 now, 23 Wait for the Lord, and it's 150 National Treasure.
What is this drift about on Cabaletta? That is an absolutely stonking price, isn't it? So I'm keeping the faith. I've got to do that. You'd have to play in this race like Graeme Rodway, sitting it out. Again, we're still sort of learning. We wouldn't say it's in its infancy, this flat campaign, but we're still waiting for some big horses to come out.
It's not really ignited yet. Would that be fair or not?
The Guineas have been slightly somewhat underwhelming. Are we waiting for the Ballydor 3? I don't know, really. Has the flat season ignited yet? That's a good question. A lot of good horses still to come out. We've got some socials on the screen. Let's see who joins the party this afternoon. Hugh Masson comes back on and says, thoughts and prayers to anyone who took 13 to 8. Not bog, not big on Calabaletta. Yeah, all right. Best odds guaranteed.
DOG.
You can tell that I'm not down with the abbreviations, right? I think that's not the first time I've done that, Hugh. Listen, Hugh, I'm with you all the way. Best odds guaranteed. This could be a time to really revel in that concession out there, couldn't it?
Salsada's been really tricky here, lads.
Salsada playing up a bit. Barry, does that mean there's been a bit of a spike on Salsada?
7.8 at the moment. She can be tricky at the stalls as well. So, I think punters are aware of that. But she's set 8.2 now. Yeah, so they are. It has had an adverse effect on her price.
All right. Okay. So don't panic then, basically. You've got Wait the Lord in here as well. Affiliate was just, can't remember writing about a horse that was so keen around Lingfield last time. Wears a Hood for David Ellsworth and Dougie Costello and National Treasure. Lots and lots to find for Ben Haslam. A trainer having a good time of it, but this is
I've actually backed that 3 places on Betfair, just small. Just
National Treasure?
Yeah, National Treasure. Now, I know it appears to have absolutely no chance, but you can get 3 places. There's only 6 in it. I don't think it's completely out of this.
Will it rob some black type then for G? Let's find out.
It might only be 5 runners. I think
they
might
went
have
without
gone. Yeah.
They went without Salsada.
So
the spotlight pick, Barry Orr's pick, has gone. Okay, she didn't fancy going in then. A bit of a black mark about her. We'll talk about that afterwards because Oriental Mystique. I wondered about the stamina for this, but they're going straight from the front under man of the moment at Haydock, Oisin Murphy. Cabaletta slightly lit up by the first-time blinkers in second. Laloon dropped her head lovely in third. Wait for the Lord. Yep, settled, although keen, better than she was last time at Lingfield. And not the outsider that we might think, says Graeme Rodway in the studio. National Treasure out the back at the moment. She's been set quite a bit to do. What sort of pace are they going, Poste?
I think just an ordinary sort of gallop, if I'm honest, at the moment. I think Oriental Mystique, Oisin Murphy's controlling things they want them. As you said, Cabaletta was a little bit free early doors with the blinkers on for the first time. Think okay now. La Luna seems to have a good pitch, relaxing away, lovely.
Dropped anchor, G, up front. Oisin
Yeah,
Murphy.
he's getting a very easy time, this favourite now. Odds on Betfair, isn't he? So the in-running players think that he's getting it easy, and it does look that way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Barry, then, we're on the far side. We're approaching that tight right angle into the home straight. I assume the favourite must have hardened up now.
Yeah, 10 to 9 on. Had a Betfair SP at 2.97, so nearly 2 to 1. But 10 to 9 on now in running. Cabalet 5, 3.9 Laloon, and it's 20 bar. Laloon looks to be the only one that the in-running punters think will put her up to the favourite.
Yeah, she was weak beforehand. Has she just been a little bit too lit up? Cabaletta, the grey, still sitting in second, however, as they approach the home straight. National Treasure with around about 10 lengths to make up on the favourite, Oriental Mystique, who's confidently ridden at the moment by Oisin Murphy. Now, where will they come in the straight? As we saw last week, they went away from the far rail. They're pretty much doing that. They've got to follow the leader, of course. Laloon, she's going to be shortening up a little bit because Poste, she's got lows under the bonnet.
Yeah, she's travelling up really well, but I mean, I would be concerned at the fact that Oisin Murphy's had it so easy, and if he lets out half an inch of rain, he could start picking up. And like I say, I think he's the one to beat right now. Oriental Mystique, she is.
Okay, well, Cabaletta is now ranging up there with 2 furlongs to go. How do you see this going, G?
Looks between the front 3. Laloon is travelling beautifully, isn't she? Yeah, going well, Laloon now.
This is not quite Boardman-like, but Oriental Mystique, yeah, the stamina is giving way now. So it's between Cabaletta, digging deep on the far side. Massive odds, she went off. She's not done with, but Laloon, has she got a measure? She's just hanging fire a little bit. You can see why they went for the blinkers. Will the rail help? No, Poste's got this one. This is it. Charlie Poste off the mark for the day. Happy days. Henry Candy, we flagged it beforehand, knows what he's doing. Oriental Mystique coming back
on again. Yeah.
Nearly just got up for second. That went the way of Cabaletta. The market knew about her. Dramatic race. Barry Orr, story of the market.
Yeah, Cabaletta hit a low of 2.40, 6 to 4, would you believe? The Oriental Mystique traded at a low of 1.78, which is just nearly 8 to 11. Your winner, Laloon, hit a high of 6.8. That wasn't in running there. That was pre-race. Had a Betfair SP of 3.68. So it was back from 6.8 to a Betfair SP of 3.6. So it was, yeah, sizable chunk of the market on him, but traded at a high of 6.8 pre-race, not in running.
Thank you, Barry. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a really dramatic home straight there because Oriental Mystique looked like falling in a hole. I thought it was Stamina that was going to fall in the hole. If you looked at her profile...
You didn't go quick enough.
Just a strange one, isn't it? Maybe the wrong filly wore the headgear, I don't know.
She's got a bit of a loser's mentality, hasn't she, Oriental Mystique? You know,
getting up there now, isn't it, G?
Yeah, she doesn't look the most straightforward.
You dislike her?
I'm getting a slow sort of dislike of her. Just the way she goes through a race is a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, she hung quite badly at Goodwood, didn't she, last time? Now, I know that Goodwood is a funny old track, isn't it? But, yeah, it was a very straightforward win. She reminds me a little bit of Chain of Daisies, that all. She's very straightforward, isn't she, Laloon?
Looks it, doesn't she?
She's very lightly raced, isn't she, for a 5-year-old? She's obviously had all sorts of problems in the best care possible with Henry Gandy. It's not just sprinters that Henry can do. It was flagged up before. Caballetta's run well, hasn't she? She kept in the fight for a long way, considering she was so keen.
Yeah, she was just keen enough, wasn't she, in the blinkers on first time. It took a while for David Egan to kind of get her where he wanted her. And like you say, she's kept on admirably. You'd wonder maybe with the blinker combo whether she could drop back and trip again. I don't know. What do you think?
Interesting. Yeah, they might just go back a little bit. I just think that perhaps with what they show at home and I don't know.
She's an underachiever, obviously.
I think so. I think probably they thought she might be an Oaks filly early on last year. So
you may see that also. The winner at Goodwood for that, is it the Lily Langtree?
Love it. That would be up in trip, G.
Yeah. She'd definitely stay. She'd buy Champs-Élysées. They get forever, don't they?
Yeah. So, and it was interesting how David Probert was at pains not to go for her until right towards the end, wasn't it? So that'll be very interesting seeing him member section later on in papers tomorrow. The quotes that we get from David Probert about that. We've definitely seen a horse, I think, that's capable.
She seems relatively
of running a Group 2 race.
She's not ground dependent. I mean, it was good.
That's lovely as well, isn't it?
Which gives you confidence moving forward.
Henry Candy's had a good start to 2021. You know that. A Candy horse first time out, something you think, I'm not sure about it with Henry, but they have been hitting the mark, as this filly did a month ago on her return. So she's 2 from 2. She's going places, isn't she? Were you impressed? Let us know. Let's hope you followed in Poste there. And, of course, Barry, Oriental Mystique. Another serial loser. We've seen a few of them on the show today, haven't we? Of course, we can call her that. She tried, her heart out towards the finish, but that was a very, very strange one. A few of the shorties are getting sunk.
Yeah, they went by her and it looked like she'd ran her race, and then she seemed to get a second wind and want to go on again. I think she wouldn't be carrying my money, that's for sure, off the back of seeing that, when the race was over, she ran on again. It's not something I'd be too keen on.
So we've seen the one at Chester sunk. Bielsa was sunk as well. Not a bad day for the books so far, Barry.
No, it's not. Yeah, the best backed horse, obviously, the one in Chester, best backed horse of the day. It looks like the price that went off and that gets chinned. We got Bielsa chinned, and the favourite there chinned. So books are going okay. It's more for us. It's about the charity, Dave, and we're winning. I think we're winning 200 quid for the charity. So
lovely.
Happy days. Got something on the board for Bob Champion Cancer Research.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're having a good day out there, show Bob some love. You can go to his website out there. He's walking the courses, despite some issues out there, and raising loads of money as usual. Great to see some of his old pals doing that as well with him. Bob, it was amazing. It was 40 years ago that Old Needy. That remarkable performance in the Grand National. So we've been playing for Bob and we've nicked a few quid. It may get better as the day goes on. Will it get better, Barry Orr, in the next at Beverley, which comes up? It's the Brian Yeardley, we used to call it, now sponsored by Bet365. Continental 2-year-old trophy stakes. Again, decent horses can win this race.
Yeah, some nice sorts in there. Ryan's Party's your favourite at 2.94. Very strong at the head of the market. Rob John 6.6. Tipperary Sunset 6.0. The Gatekeeper 6.2, 9 Straits of Moyle, and Mercurial is 11.5. So only one horse, not in single figures here. Very competitive event. Your favourite at 2.94, Ryan's Party. His form ties in with Tipperary Sunset, John Quinn's horse. Tipperary Sunset beat it a length off level weights last day. Has to give him £4 for the win this time round. That's why the market's tilting towards Tipperary Sunset. I think it was bought as 200 grand as a breezer. Ryan's Party was bought at 200,000 as a breezer. But I like Tipperary Sunset that day, and I like the way he went around his business, broke well, bagged the rail, quickened off his own pace, which I thought was a good sign. And he's a horse I really liked. I think his trainer, John Quinn, knows well about these 2-year-olds and how to get them right. It's a great name for a horse as well. It's a horse I read in the Racing Post earlier, resonates with John. He had a horse back in the day called Tipperary Sunset that he very eloquently says one at the right times for him. So you can imagine what that means. But one of our own, John Quinn, Tipperary Sunset for me. Yeah, and it's just going to be a straightforward win here, G-Rod. We're just going to have 50 quid on. Happy to be a price taker here at around the 6.0 mark. So currently trading at 5.8. We'll go to 6. We'll back it at 6.0. If it's not available, it'll go into the late column, but happy to back it at that.
Are we on, G?
You're on, but you're on 5.83 because I was so fast. I was ahead of Barry there.
First time for everything in life. You are known as Rodders in some circles, Plodders.
Plodders.
That's what Gills calls him. Plodders Rodway. Absolutely fantastic.
Slow and steady wins the race.
I'll tell you what, we went to the CAF when we were allowed to do that last year. He was not plodding then, let me tell you. It was quicker than I was to the draw, and it was absolutely down.
Good,
all right, so
it's
John Quinn. Now, El Astronaute didn't fire out there for the Quins in our previous race at Haydock, but let me tell you, his horses are running rather well. You look down the last fortnight, very few of them are missing the frame when this, of the odds to do it. Got to turn it round, Ryan's party, G, but they took out the Hilary Needler, the Ryan team. Do you give the Fav any chance, or you think it's too short?
No, it's obviously got a huge chance. It's always interesting with these young horses to see how they went in the market, isn't it? First time up, and obviously the Ryan team must have thought that this one was fairly useful to be going off at 6-4 favourite to win, and obviously turned over by Tipperary Sunset. But as you say, we've just seen the Kevin Ryan take out the Hilary Needler, so I think they're going to be expecting a big step forward from Ryan's party. I didn't like the form as much as the market does, and I thought the other one at the top of the market was the one to be on Rob John. This one trained by Richard Hannon, won first time out at Brighton, and was turned over last time out at York in a better race. But that's still among the best form available in this race. That second at York, Rob John, and proved that he handled soft ground, I thought, there. So I'm expecting a big step forward from Rob John.
I spoke to front-running Chris Cook yesterday at the Post, and this is his nap of the day. So it was surprising. Yeah, Rob John. Yeah, it was surprising to see that it was one of the outsiders when the market was up there. Going in, I like Straits and Moyle, whose sire won this for the same colours. Prince of Lear, the only newcomer to do it. Cost a load of money, this. I was happy to see it was drying up at Beverley a little bit. Thinks he goes well, Posty?
Straits and Mail. I mean, I'm with Barry, Tipperary Sunset. I mean, you'd imagine the fact that it's 9-2 in a race like this, the Fahy horse must have been showing something at home. From the breeze up. So
Prince of Lear for the Cool Silk Partnership won this race. He also won it with a horse called Summer Sands on it was last one as well. Robert Cowell, a trained Prince of Lear, he had something that didn't figure in the Hilary Needler in these silks, but I think this is probably an all right horse.
Our dad, very good sire as well. They started off very well.
Really well, isn't he?
Sunset,
yeah. Would love the first season
Yeah,
sire
we know
stats.
they're off.
Straits and Moyle's absolutely missed it. That's it. He must have unbelievable. I put the curse on him if you
Bad
back that
start
one.
by Ryan's
I think
party
I've
as
put
well.
the curse on him because stall one, he's going to have to do it the hard way. Okay, who's leading? Mercurial for Tom Dascombe. Hayley Turner, bit keen perhaps maybe. Tipperary Sunset in a lovely position there. Old rival, Ryan's party. I say old rival, they're babies, but they came up against this last time. Will the £4 swing in the weeks count? The gatekeeper, typically for Mark Johnson, he's been to a few parties so far. Rob John taking time to warm up. Straits of Moyle, the ability's there. Has the start cost it? Here we go up the hill then, G.
Yeah, here comes Ryan's party, putting it up to Tipperary Sunset. Come on, Rob John, get down there outside.
Tell you what, Straits and Moyle's running a blinding race here, isn't he?
Notebook, whatever happens.
Yeah,
He's going to win this, isn't he? No. Come on, Straits and Moyle. I think he's going to get it, isn't he?
Come on.
Okay, here we go.
Tipperary Sunset.
Win horse. You can tell it's getting on here. People putting their money where their mouth is.
Come on, Tipperary Sunset. Come on.
Come on, Rob John. Get up. Come on, Tipperary Sunset. Come on, yes. The sun shines here at Racing Post Live, all the way to Tipperary. Barry Orr, Charlie Post, they knew. James Sullivan, strength in the saddle there. Sees off Rob John. Graeme Rodway, you must have thought the voodoo hoodoo was over.
It was coming. I thought it was going to happen. It was coming down the outside. I thought we were going to be off our seats then, Dave, and then didn't happen.
Oh, I'll tell you what a race that was. Flat as a pancake he is. I tell you what, we thought we were going to be able to poke the bear, but it's not been able to happen. But he's getting closer, isn't he, Barry Orr? That must have gone short, mustn't it, Rob John?
Yeah, 1.28, 2-7, Dave. Yeah, 2-7, Rob John trade up. But real game win from the from Tipperary Sunset. Broke well, jumped over, got the rail. Catch me if you can, and a good ride from James Sullivan. We bagged 250 for the charity, so we're winning 450 for the charity now. Thank God.
That's it. We're getting it back up there, Barry. Or back on the show. Lovely stuff. And you could tell that Barry enjoyed that one. You enjoyed that one as well.
I enjoyed that too.
I'll tell you what, when you're in here, you know that Poste's gone for one and he's got a chance. So we saw it over jumps, didn't we? When James King won at Aintree, one of your protégés, of course. A quick word for Kingy. He's going to win the point-to-point championship, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's 10 winners clear. There's only 3 weekends left, so I think it's in the bag now.
You claiming it all? Is he going to take you out for dinner, all that sort of thing?
I doubt it. He's so miserable.
Is he? Oh, yeah, we've spoken about it, haven't we?
Yeah. Until he gets a few drinks down him, let's say his alter ego Jim comes out, then he...
Like most jockeys that we know, jump jockeys in particular.
James King becomes Jim. He's like a gremlin when you get water on them.
Yeah, son of course, Racing Post legend Andrew King, the West Country guru. All right, there we are. So that was a great race, wasn't it? We enjoyed it. There were, only a couple of runs. See what, Straight Some More has won. Come last, I think. Yeah.
When you started getting to win.
He's actually trying. We're laughing about the fact.
You weren't realising how much this track kinks round.
He has run an absolute stormer, though. I mean, he's left 6 at the start. He's the only one that's come stand side. He must have nearly led at one point, wasn't he? He's just blown up a little bit towards the end. If that was a sharper track, I tell you what, Straight Some Moyle, they've got a nice horse there. If he just learns, Ryan's Party was a little bit disappointing, wasn't it? I think for Team Ryan, he didn't quite perhaps appreciate the track.
Didn't get a great start, Dave.
Mercurial, he's run well. Rob John, it was a matter of time before we get Rob John in the bank, isn't it?
Yes, he was coming home well, but I think he probably had to make his ground at quite a hot part of the race, and just told, hasn't it, at the end?
Okay, we are coming up to the feature race here on RP Live. We're approaching the business end. It's the John o' Gaunt Stakes, and we've got a little treat for you. Let's have a look. Well, you can tell that Dan Walsh is back in the gallery, and lovely stats pack there for us, VT for us. And you saw the Racing Post verdict there. Toro Strike to get Richard Fahey the feature race of the day, the John o' Gaunt. Where is he in the market, Barry? I saw Toro Strike was being well backed earlier in the day.
8.6 at the moment. The market headed by With Tanks at 6.4, so it's wide open. Toro Strike was a high of 9.8 on the exchange. So in quite significantly, in a full 3 points. But like I said, your market, each of two at the moment, With Tanks and Safe Voyage, 6.4, 6.8 Glorious Journey, River Nymph, 6.8, 7.2. Barders, all bar 3 of them are in single figures. The horse I like in it is Jessica Harrington, horse that's travelled over called Njord. It's currently 11.0 on the exchange. Won the Balmoral off 102 at the festival last year. Has won up to a mile two as well. Drops back to 7 furlongs. With third to Snaptaria in Nace over 7 furlongs last day. Snaptaria went on to finish third in the Gallinule to Earlswood, who's a real live Derby contender if he decides to go there for Johnny Murtagh. Probably go to the Irish Derby, mind that horse. But he gave £11 to Snaptaria that day as well. Traded at 1.17 in running, so 6-1 on or 13-2 on as well. I think they were hoping for the ground to be a little bit softer, but I think this is a bet win and play. So just 25 quid win, please, G-Rod on Njord, and then happy to be a price taker. And in the 3 place, the standard place terms, just going to have 25 quid on there as well. Happy to be a price taker again.
G?
Yeah, let's just get this on. So that's we're on the win, and Njord in the 3 place market, standard place market, 3.15, 25 on her in that race too. Him.
I have to say, that's exactly how I play the race, Barry, as well. I'm in total agreement with you. No need to add any further, really. Last year's Balmoral, when it comes back to that sort of form, in what the market is showing us, is a wide open race. I actually woke up this morning looking forward to this horse more than any other today. So I see him going well. Paul Keeley, I see, has gone for him in your Saturday Scissors as well. So there's a bit of agreement going down. You're on a quick double, my man. A quick treble, actually, aren't you?
Yeah,
You
treble,
are. Just
yeah.
sorry, Poste. I know you get a bit touchy about these things. You're on you're on a treble, my man. What's going to win?
I've gone for the lovely Safe Voyage. As in, I know he ran poor in the Lockinge, but it was deep company and loves Haydock. Won this race the last time it was staged and siding up with John Quinn again for a quick double for him.
Again, riding, as you did as a youngster at the Far East, you must have seen quite a bit of the Quinns as well, did you?
Yeah, as in, you always hear stories about him throwing his flat cap on the ground when he was disgruntled up on the gallop.
Sean's a big part of it now, his son, isn't he? Yeah.
I don't know whether he's mellowed a bit. I think he was quite fiery, John. Yeah.
Well, he's a proper shrewdy. So you're going for the quick Quinn double and the Posty treble.
Yeah.
Managed to say that.
Sounds good.
In its entirety quickly. G, you come back into the selection saga.
Yes.
You were just nutted in the previous race. That makes it probably let's not go there. But who is going to end the hoodoo?
Yeah, so that was 2 to 7 in running. So we're getting there. Dave. And this one we're going on Toro Strike. Yeah. Again, one of my better fancies of the day. Hopefully. Just was very impressed with the way that Toro Strike won last time at first. Yeah. Just was under pressure at the top of the straight and then suddenly just snapped back onto the bridle and then went and hammered them by 2.5 lengths, I think it was. And I'm not convinced that good to firm ground would be absolutely ideal either. So I think that the bit of cut will be all right.
Interesting. And okay, when he won the handicap last year, do you remember at Glorious Goodwood? Right old gamble, wasn't he? And I think we were covering that day, but we came off air. I remember we ran down to have a drink afterwards, and I was quite keen to see how he'd gone. He won so well, and then he proved himself to be a pattern performer, didn't he? In something of a sort of funny race. Who was just nutted back at the course last time. I expect him to be a horse that takes the next step up. And handicapping wise, G, I can see exactly where he come from. I was slightly worried about the ground. So this is just something of an acid test for him, I think, today.
Well, it just depends on whether you're going on sort of pedigree and form or whether you're going on the way he went through his race.
It's got to be the Lennox Stakes is the target, isn't it?
It looks that way,
It's
doesn't
got
it?
to be the natural.
I just thought he looked like a horse last time who might appreciate a bit of cut, given the way sort of he came outpaced and then finished.
Interesting.
We'll see.
Toronado, of course, Myler was the sire, wasn't it? So perhaps he's going to want all of 7 furlongs this year. He's certainly an interesting player, Richard Fahey, Paul Hannigan, in a very interesting race. With thanks, probably the one that we all expect to be with at the end of the season, amongst the pack, isn't it? She's entered in the Duke of Cambridge Posty next season. First time out winners, though, of this race are thin on the ground.
Is that a bad stat, is it? Yeah.
Just couldn't find one.
I mean, again, like William Haggis, you've got to respect her. Horses running seriously well. Ground's not a concern. In fact, you could almost argue she might prefer it even worse than this.
She's the one that absolutely, had it been a bog, you might have thought, well, even though it's first time out in race fitness, she's just going to sluice through it,
Would you be concerned? I mean, I know the stats say, but Haggis, you wouldn't be that concerned about one of his first time out, would you? Or
No. Again, a bit like the Varian market situation we were talking about in the previous race. If any Newmarket trainers are judged on the market, it tends to be Haggis and Varian because they're so popular and because their horses are so well bred and they're so well trained. And
so is that from yard money or just like you say, just because they're popular from a
definitely a following?
point
Perhaps
of view?
Barry could help us a little bit with this. Haggis, Varian, traders. You're always going to go a little bit under than over with them, aren't you, Barry?
You're always going to what, Dave? Sorry,
You're always going to price them defensively. The Varian and Haggis yards do seem to be not over bet, but they're always put in short, aren't they?
Haggis probably to a certain extent, less so Varian really. I don't know. It all depends on the makeup of the race, really, Dave. If it's an unexposed 2-year-old, like you're looking at money and you're looking at stable form and you're looking at breeding and the trainer in particular, and William Haggis and Roger Varian would count when it comes to all those metrics. But a lot of the time, it's the makeup of the race that determines, whether you're going under horses or over them.
It won't mean much to them, of course, because they got.
Well, in a race
bigger
like
fish
this,
to
you
fry.
think with thanks, that William Haggis, like he can get one ready first time up. That, it's well established that he's capable of getting one ready first time up.
You could almost have a market on who's going to go off outright. Fav,
Yeah.
Glorious Journeys and other horses. He's got some top class form in the book. He's just sort of Group 2 horse, isn't he? You could say so. Here he is in a Group 3.
Yeah, he's he's David Jennings' favourite horse, famously, isn't he? He always tips Glorious Journey and doesn't win very often.
Well, it doesn't win very often, but it's pretty harsh. We wouldn't call him an Oriental Mystique, would we?
No, he's a solid enough horse, but he just always seems to land in deep enough company, doesn't he? Maybe this is his sort of grade.
He's trained by an operation that like to pitch them in, isn't he? And
yeah.
I've had some lovely days with the Journey before, and Will Buick. He's a pace angler in the race, and he is one of the favourites, of course. He gets weight from Safe Voyage. Mr. Haydock. I called him on a feature show yesterday, Safe Voyage, the Bristol Demai of flat racing. And people went, that's damning him with faint praise, And I thought, not really. It just means he loves Haydock, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, yeah. I mean,
absolutely adores it.
You can't get away from it, can you?
Yeah.
He's a good horse. He's a very good horse, anyway.
I mean, exactly. Away from Haydock as well, he's pretty handy, isn't he? So, as in...
I mean, he was speeding a half length in the lab foyer, yeah. Right.
I just wonder whether, and we'll find out a little bit, but he was last, of course, in the Lockage. I wonder, I was talking with the guys in off air before, do you think that he went to, was last year his peak season? I know it's easy to say that with Aussie, but it went to the Breeders' Cup with him. At Haydock, he's 1-1-1-1-2. So, and
that is the question, isn't it? If it's not, and he's going to bounce back, he's a massive price, isn't he, really, on form?
Let's get some socials in there. When he went to Leopardstown, I couldn't believe him because I thought he'd get out stay. But Andy Sims says, with thanks for me, you've been hanging out there a bit, Andy. Great to have you back, keeping the haggis faith. And Chris Timms comes back on and says, with thanks. We'll definitely handle conditions. Hopefully she's fit enough. First time out. Well, Chris, hopefully Barry's answered that one for you. And Frizzy Red comes back on and says, Queen Jojo, 3:30 each way. Interesting, Queen Jojo, for Kevin Ryan. I must admit, I had a little look at her and I thought to myself, Haydock form, tick. Soft ground form, tick. Kieran Schumacher knows the rides now. I just wonder whether this might be a little bit hot with some of the... If they all perform to their marks, then... she might be playing for places at best. But yeah, she's definitely got some very interesting Haydock form, hasn't she? Kinross, Frankie Dettori, another ride that you've dismissed, is it, for Rafe Beckett, for your father, when he asked you for your pearls of G wisdom?
Yeah, when he was being shrewd, probably, and I told him he wasn't.
He's the one that drives the rolls, is he?
Yeah. I see this one was fairly solid in the mark, isn't it, Kinross? So maybe this is the one of the two that's the better fancied. The first one, no show, was it?
Well, it was, in the first race we covered, wasn't it?
The other Beckett,
Helvetia,
yeah.
It travelled well and just needed the run, basically. Yeah. He has finished fourth at Haydock before. He's not got too much soft ground form.
Been gelded.
Someone told me that they backed him in the Guineas. You remember he won the Vertem, didn't he?
Yeah.
Beat, oh, goodness me. I just wondered whether that... Kamiko, thank you, Rob Lee, in the studio. He's basically... of course, he was beaten, wasn't he? Behind Kamiko, what am I talking about? But he won at Kempton. He beat Kuzarm of Roger Varians, is it? Who's gone on to produce really big figures after that. This would be a drop in grade for him, and you've got to give him a bit of an unforgiving nature. But punters are. Yeah,
he's been gelded as well. I don't know if that's an angle, as in.
He's changed colours, G, hasn't he? He used to be in those famous green colours.
In the green, yeah.
Some new colours.
I've never seen such... I don't ever remember seeing too many wide open Group 3s like this one. I mean, I think we're looking at around 6.4 the Fav and about 6 or 7 horses all within a couple of points.
What about River Nymph for Adam Kirby? We saw steaming to victory in the Victoria Cup.
I was talking to our betting editor yesterday, Mel Rose, and he said, you make no mistake, this is a very good horse, River Nymph. So, I can't do his... Scottish accent.
Right, give it a bash. Yeah.
Give it a go on. Bearing in mind, he is your boss.
Make no mistake, this is a very good horse. Something like that. Is that good?
I mean, wherever that came from, I don't know. That sounded more like Major Farley, I think. Okay, if that was a Scottish accent, we apologise out there and we will remove it from the final edit. And Keith Melrose is out there going on. You call him Melrose as well, like it's a hyphenated name.
Melrose.
You talk to him more than anyone at the post. Your assistant betting editor, he's a betting editor. You talk all the time.
Yeah, every day pretty much. And I just can't imagine. Like, we've got this England-Scotland game coming up, haven't we, at the Euros? I can't imagine what it's going to be like having to talk to Melrose every day. If
he's coming back
win.
into the studio. We know he's predominantly a bit more of a jumps man, but like yourself, he likes to, once it's in full swing, he likes to get involved, and he will be coming back. Of course, he will be coming back for Royal Ascot. Don't worry about that. Producer Dan says, if G-Rob wins the next, he has to do the rest of the show in that accent. He's Lord.
I think he'll take it.
What's he on again? Toro Strike.
Yeah.
Okay,
Toro
which is
Strike.
okay. Everyone at the Post is now praying, I imagine, on the news desk that this doesn't go in because, and your family are probably thinking, please
Melrose,
don't. He's Melrose.
Yeah.
But and he would say that. That's exactly how he would word it. Mate, no, I'm not going to do the impression. Make no mistake.
That's even worse.
That probably is even worse. Accents they say you should never do, when you're on TV. Absolutely. I try to get Tony Ellis when he comes in because he loves doing accents of famous racing people. He hates it when you ask him to do it. But he would say, make no mistake, this is a good horse. It's a sort of statement he likes to make, the betting.
Yeah, it's a big statement.
It is a big statement. So I'm glad that we mentioned River Nymph then jumping up from handicap company to Group 3. We've got one more coming after this, haven't we? From Chester. 7.5 handicap furlong, handicap race at Chester.
I thought Beverley, but anyway.
It's Beverley, isn't it? It is Beverley. I've had a good one today, haven't I, with Beverley and Chester. It is actually, of course it is Beverley. One of my best bets goes in it. Byron's Choice I like in the last. We'll get to that in a bit, though. A reminder of the tips for you. We know a lot of you are hoping that With Thanks has got that fitness on her side. And I guess if she wins this, we'll be asking Barry for a price for the Duke of Cambridge coming up. It looks like a really, really hot race this year. I wonder if Lady Beauthorpe will be going there as well. You'd have to think she's going to be a short price for that. I know Queen Power is fav, but she...
Yeah. Just back on the Derby, I obviously been allowed out of my house for the first time in ages to actually get to the races, and I was talking to someone who works down at Ed Dunlop's, and they're very hopeful of. Is it John Leaper?
Yeah, I love John
Pedigree.
They are very, very hopeful.
Pedigree.
Yeah.
Best pedigree in the race.
Have to be, surely.
Frank out Snow Fairy, the Oaks River.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him.
They are very hopeful.
I haven't backed it. Are they?
Very.
It's lovely to see. I've said this on the show before.
With the keenness warrior, he was keen the other day
you should
again.
settle in a derby, shouldn't you, with the battalion going
Didn't
on?
go any pace in that race. And
Yeah, true.
That might not.
And I suppose,
Bolshoi Ballet, wasn't it, for you?
Yeah.
So did that make you think I need to have a look? He's short in the market, John Leaper, isn't he?
Yeah, I've not had a proper look at the race yet, but it was it sounded like they were very bullish.
What were the words that they used? Don't need to name names, but what were the words?
Words were
wins.
that this horse is ridden at home by the same person who rode Golden Horn, and he gives him a similar feel.
Right, okay, there you go. All right, so a week on Saturday, John Leaper then, a real fly in the ointment, but bred to go around. I keep coming back to McSwiney, I've got to be honest with you. All right, so look, good luck wherever you're playing. Feature race of the day. Penultimate here on Racing Post Live. It is the John Gaunt Stakes at Haydock. Wide open market. Will there be a blanket finish? Let's see as they jump off then. Brad the Brief. I know a couple of judges that have gone for that. He's got to bounce back. But if it's Haydock, you know that Tom Dascombe's horses are going to be right up there. And Oisin Murphy touched off in the previous race, but he's had a double there. He leads With Thanks, who's a little bit fresh, but Tom Marquand, she's a little bit sweaty as well. Maybe that's why the market was a little bit reluctant on her. Safe Voyage got the box seat in third. River Nymph. Keith Melrose says, what a horse this is in the making. We will find out because he's poised to pounce. Toro Strike a bit keen. Kinross there. Glorious Journey held up today. Njord out the back with Queen Jojo as well. Sticking far side Posty.
Yeah, I mean, the race has just settled down nice, hasn't it? William Haggis's horse in sort of plumb position. Safe Voyage as well. Very happy there. Third down the paint.
Gee, where's Toro Strike?
He's travelling nicely though, yeah, but he's a little way off the pace. They're all starting to make their moves now. It's starting to heat up this race. Come on, Toro.
Yeah, Toro Strike is absolutely travelling, isn't he? He must be going low, we can see. Njord's got a bit to say.
Come on, Toro.
They're going to need a run, though. With thanks for you all out there. Will she do it? Kinross, he's got a good run. Frankie Dettori sends his glory. Njord's got loads of running in him. Will he get through? That's the question. River Nymph is there.
Voyage, no
Glorious
run.
Journey's there. I'll tell you what, Njord's going to be an eye catcher. Whatever happens, but
Frankie.
Kinross.
It's
Frankie
Frankie.
Dettori sets sails for home.
He's gone.
Njord just given that bit too much to do. So was Glorious Journey. It's all been about the gelding operation because he looks like a Group 1 performer in a Group 3. Njord! Barry Orr, thank goodness you put the bet on in the place market. He's flashed home, happy with that run. There's another big one in him. And Glorious Journey, what a glorious each way horse he is. He filled the third spot. What, that was a race of changing fortunes, Posty.
Very much so. I mean, look, as in Kinross is right back on track. Like you say, Gelding operation seems to have made a massive difference, because I think we all agreed this was an open Group 3, but with plenty of depth in it. And I thought he won impressively there. I thought the way he quickened up to lead, it was quite taking performance, and be interested to see if he can go even higher than this, won't it? You know.
And Frankie Dettori really enjoying that. He gives Shane Foley, who flashed him home all too late, in second, a playful tap on the head. I hope you've not got a family dinner tonight, because you put your father off back in this.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to get to the barbecue that they're holding tomorrow. All I'm going to hear about all day is Kinross, isn't it?
You'll be driving, that's for sure, after that one. Njord was a big eye-catcher, Barry, but just got first run, Frankie, and didn't he produce?
Frankie got first run. I mean, you're bang on there. The race was all over by the time Shane Foley got Nord running. But just looking, there's no real fancy entries. He's in the Hunt Cup, or the Sussex Stakes, the winner. I'm trying to see if we've got a price in the Hunt Cup for him. Kitten Ross is 14 from 33 for the Hunt Cup, and Nord 14 from 20 for the same race.
You might think that the new owner, Mark Chan, might have some ideas about him going abroad, I think. But Rafe Beckett, he's had a good, solid start to this flat season. Some big winners all along the way. And that he thought this was the absolute star in the making. So gelded him, he's back. They're going to race him. He goes to the Lennox now, surely.
Kinross?
Got to be, isn't it?
Well, you'd imagine so. I mean, being honest, at the Hunt Cup, off the mark he's going to have, I mean, would he get a penalty for this? Is it closed already?
That's a good question. Let me just find out there. G, where would you go with this chap?
Yeah,
the 25 from 50 for the Sussex Stakes.
I mean, again, I couldn't see that. Could you?
Does he definitely want soft ground this?
Weights are out, and it's a £3 penalty, isn't it? I think he would get. Penalised runners don't historically do well in the Hunt Cup.
I mean, he must be high enough anyway, is he?
He would be high enough already, so that would put him on near top weight in the Hunt Cup.
Yeah.
So unless Frankie gets off and says we've got to strike with the iron sight, you would imagine they're now going to try and get him back to that Group 1 performer. Were you impressed out there? Of course, some people thought he'd run well in the Guineas. The wheels just came off. Physically, that can happen with these 3-year-olds. They do get lost. And Kinross takes it out, beats Njord then, and Glorious Journey back in third.
Quite a tactical race, though, wasn't it?
Was a tactical race.
As in there was a few of them didn't get much racing room.
If he'd have got a cleaner run, Barry, do you think Njord would have got right up and given him a lot to think about?
He'd have given him something. They served it up to him all right. I would like to see Frankie have to work for it. But just, 7 furlongs is probably not Nord's trip, in fairness to Shane Foley, and he was finding it difficult to lay up with them. When the gaps did appear, he went through them, and he's ran all the way to the line to winner. But a mile is probably his trip, really.
He is in the Hunt Cup, Barry, but he'll need rain, and that looks like a lofty weight. I wouldn't be surprised. He must have loads of opportunities at home, Njord, mustn't he?
Yeah, there'll be several for him over here as well. Yeah, there's a lot of those. He's still qualified for a few of those Premier handicaps in the Curragh. I think they're 105, and obviously listed and Group 3 races. That seems the standard.
I'd love to see him at Galway, wouldn't you, with that hill and spectators back cheering him on.
He's won there. He's won in Galway.
There you go.
He's won at the festival. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there'll be a nice group race for him there later on. Can't wait to get Galway back with fans. Let's hope that absolutely happens. Irish Derby weekend, as Barry said, you've seen leaking through. Thank goodness they're part of the Irish pilots, like racing was over here. 12,000 coming back to Royal Ascot as well. So not quite as we know it, but the Queen will be there, and there'll be lots of people waving on the carriages. Great news, isn't it?
Fantastic. I mean, when I'm doing something a while ago when they're saying about 4,000, it just seemed like madness.
They had budgeted for it as well, I can tell you that much.
I mean, 4,000 people in Ascot, you can nearly go there and not see anyone for the day. It's that big a place, as in, it just seemed ridiculous. And
you thought that just the top hats were going to get in, didn't you? But it's great for the game, obviously, isn't it? Because it was, if you speak to anyone that went last year, we were in the studio, of course, for most of it, weren't we? But anyone that went, commentators, pundits, whatever, ambulance staff, really eerie, because the flowers are still standing to attention, all that sort of pomp and regalia you have.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember thinking last year, let's hope that this time next year we're back to normal. And I think then we all thought we would be seeing full spectator. So at least 12,000, it's going to look a little bit like Royal Ascot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's going to feel a bit like Royal Ascot, and that's definitely a positive.
There will be challenges for them, of course, more news emerging in the next week or so from Nick Smith and the guys at Ascot about exactly what that is going to entail. And I believe the tickets went on sale yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, yesterday the tickets were on sale.
They're going to be like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Great. Look, listen, go and enjoy it if you can get there. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fantastic. Let's hope the sun shines for you, as it probably was at Beverley, not Chester, where I thought we were going for our final race. And Graham, I'm going to, before we go to Barry, just give you the floor for a second, because this is the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm coming back, Dave. If
Listen,
if
the
this one
sales
doesn't
job
win.
you did for Betfair earlier ensures that you are infinite in that
Yeah,
seat.
Sibark. This was the one that I did send up as a nap earlier on. I knew that obviously it's always a bit of a worry waiting to the last race for your nap, isn't it? Because it can seem a long time coming, but this one won well over course and distance last time, made all the running on good to firm ground, but does act on softer, and it was a good time, and I did time it. I got 99%, which at Beverley is good. And I just think that this will hopefully be a class apart. He's obviously a 3-year-old, Mark Johnston trained 3-year-old, gone up only £4 for that win, racing against a bunch of exposed older horses. He just looks a standout bet to me. But I have just had so many losers, Dave, that I'm not that confident. But fingers crossed, it's coming.
If you were being cynical before we go to Barry Poste, you'd have thought that he looked at the programme sheet and thought, if I just give my nap last, we're coming off air. The curtain will be pulled. The hook will be drawn. You could be cynical.
I can see where he's coming from.
Oh, then we can all see where he's coming from. The market can see where he's coming from. The thing is, Barry Orr, are you going in with the big bear on Siblak 2?
Yeah, he was. He was my nap as well. So I don't know whether I'm keeping dodgy company there, am I? But like for all the reasons G-Rod said, you know, he won a course and distance handicap off 76 last month. He's rated 80 now. He got £4 for that. He's a previous course and distance winner as well. He was gelded over the winter. He's obviously still unexposed. And what I like about him, he's a 3-year-old, and he gets a 3-year-old allowance of £11 here. So, like, he's rated 80. He should be carrying 9 stone 4. Because of the allowance means he carries 8 stone 7, which is great. I think everything's in his favour here. Yeah, I'm on him myself. He's my nap of the day. We're going to have 50 quid on him, please, G-Rod. I think we're winning 500 quid for the charity.
Superb, Barry.
We're going to have 50 quid on him, and fingers crossed for the charity that we can add to our little haul that we've managed to get today.
OK, then, and to just back it up on the stats a little bit, last time this race was run, it went to the aforementioned Mark Johnson with a 3-year-old. I guess the question is, Posty, then, are you going down the line, or did you think something would take him on up front and spoil the party?
Yeah, I'm going for Tim Easterby, so give it some Teddy.
He likes, he's got some definite back class, which suggests he should be going closer.
Yeah, and I just thought he ran all right at Carlisle the last day. He's back down sort of 77. They left him on the same mark as well. I think he's only beaten a half length or something like that. He's drawn okay. As I think you've said earlier, Tim Easterby's also running great at the moment. And so, yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, Tim Easterby's Boardman was impressive, wasn't he? Could it be the Wokening next for him? Hey, Jonesy, one of my big eye catchers today. We've got some eye catchers coming out again at this time of the year. You've got to put them in what we call the notebooks out there, haven't you, or trackers or whatever you're doing. I'm going against Siblak. I am going with Byron's Choice, who was second in this race in 2019. It was a good comeback run last time. James Sullivan, who we saw, of course, in the Brian Nearly Continental race. He's already off the mark. He's drawn well. Everything maps to suit. We've got to forgive him from that last couple of runs. But like I say, I saw a bit more than the finishing position suggests. So high enough in the weights, but I thought he'll be running on. So Byron's Choice for me. Let's get another social up. Chris Timms comes on and says Byron's Choice as if by magic. Each way for me in the last. Good course form. Hopefully improves for seasonal debut. We're aligned, Chris Timms, which I'm sure you think is a wonderful thing.
James Sullivan rode one of my winners last night. I thought I'd mention it just to show that I do tip winners. I don't just.
The assistant betting editor of the industry paper does tip winners. Yeah, funnily enough.
Highfield Princess. Yeah, won by a long
John Quinn.
distance.
Yeah.
And look like a pattern horse going forward.
You are. It's remarkable, isn't it? You get these hoodoos in life. You know what I mean? You're 50% in the paper in the last couple of weeks, and yet come in here, not a toffee. So Siblak getting weight from everything, drawn in 3. Does it have to lead? But when I'm getting through the first furlong, if I come to you, you might go even whiter up top than
I would like it. I would like it if he leads, but we've got Big Ben on, haven't we? Big Ben Curtis. You know, I like to call him Big Ben.
Jason Hitman. You've got your names for these jockeys.
Yeah, and he's been firing in the winners. Old Ben, hasn't he? He had a winner at Sandown on Thursday night. I don't think his title challenge is gonna is going to materialise, Dave, because just looking at how many rides they've had, I mean, Oisin Murphy and William Buick have had over 100 rides already this season. I think Ben's only on the 70-odd mark, so, you know, that's quite
Ticked
a
off the all-weather champion, hasn't he? He's got to go for the big one now, but I don't know if you
Still
would.
getting plenty of rides for Mark Johnston, though.
It's a lovely tie-up, that, isn't it?
Oh, it's a massive link up.
Two similar on paper type characters, you know, like to be prominent, like to a bit of strength and a bit of turn. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Were you surprised by it? I mean, I just thought like with Johnson and like
Joe and Franny are getting older.
Yeah, do you think that is what it is about?
Absolutely.
Sort of just filtering in someone else.
Joe Fanning gave something at Carlisle last night, Ty Terry, I think it was called, a front-running masterclass. And I know that we often say that when winners run for the front, you know, he's a great ride from the jockey and enterprising, all that guff. But it was brilliantly timed from Joe. But I think, listen, time catches up with us all, man, doesn't it? And I think him and Franny, I think this guy is the next wave coming through, and he's just perfect for
his riding style suits him ideally, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I know. I just wonder what your thoughts were on him getting that.
If you fancy one in the Group 1, you had Ben on it, it wouldn't put you off, would it?
No.
There you are. Ben Curtis, but with a bit of love. Friend of the studio as well, Ben, great guy. All right, okay, so we're coming up to the last race. Let's hope you've enjoyed the show. If you do, like and subscribe. There's great feedback from you out there. Derby weekend next weekend. Really cannot wait. Barry Orr, well, we've got to wait for the Beverley race to kick off, our 3:45. What wins the Derby, man?
Yeah, I think an Irish horse will win it. I think Bolshoi Ballet is probably the best 3-year-old colt we've seen at middle distances. McSweeney is a very, very good colt as well. He's a 2-year-old that I liked, and he showed what he was worth in the Curragh that day. I have fancy prices on the exchange about a horse, and I'm told he's going to go there now. One of Joseph O'Brien's that wouldn't have been beaten that far in the Derrinstown, but for meeting trouble in running. Having said that, Bolshoi Ballet was a very impressive winner there. But I'm on Southern Lights at all sorts of prices. I'll have an All-Ireland touch if he was to win. He's currently a 40-1 chance, so I'm not ripping up that voucher. But, I think it's Bolshoi Ballet or McSweeney for me at the head of the market, and I'm hoping for a miracle with Southern Lights.
Yeah, he's a very talented horse. We've spoken about him, and he did get snatched up at crucial stage. We've seen what a beaten horse can come out and do. It can win the Irish Guineas out of Derrinstown. So it's a good derby, isn't it? Is it? I think it is. Deep derby.
Looks like it.
Yeah. Which perhaps is what they see is what the derby should be.
I think it does need it.
You know, Roger Varia, very, very keen he is on Third Realm as well. You can just tell he likes this horse a great deal as well. That's another one that's in there. He looks like he could be a bit overpriced. Can't wait. You don't want draw one. We don't want the one poke, do we? In the classics at Epsom, for whatever reason, stall one just cannot win around Epsom. So we got all the narratives, and Monday onwards going to be all the build up here in the Racing Post. We're going to bring it to you live, and we are going to absolutely be on fire next Friday and Saturday. Small matter of one more coming up here, though. Barry, it's been great to have you back on. It's been a month of May. We've had a really good year for the charities, and you've ensured that for Bob Champion today. Well done, man.
Yeah, thankfully we got a bit lucky with a couple of our selections, and we've had a bit of fun along the way. Always a pleasure with G-Rod and Poste. Good way to spend an afternoon, lads. So thank you all very much, and look forward to next week.
Absolutely, very much. So I'll tell you what, as the last couple go in at Beverley, out of order moment of the week, Henry de Promet coming over and winning at Come on, man.
Yeah, give us a chance.
What do you think Mark Prescott was saying at Heath House about the filly that they let go for like 60 grand?
Do you know what? Talk about my old man. He actually saw him there, and he was like, "This is a bet."
Is that? Oh, come on, unbelievable.
You need to your old man on the show.
Shouldn't
He should be in the chair.
Absolutely. All right, good luck then. Last race, we're off at Beverley. You don't want to miss
Big Ben, get it out there.
Has Gallipoli also usually likes to get on with it. He looks like he's in
Big Ben.
already. Where's Sibrat then?
Yeah, he's right up there.
Yeah, right up there. You've got some company though. Warif is giving you some company. What else is up there as well? Munzadab. He likes to get on with it. But you've got the inside. Byron's Flyer in midfield. Duisenberg just sitting off you in third as well. Looking out the back, Queen Sergeant is anchored along with Herculean, a horse that one day will bounce back. Gallipoli tags on as well. Who else is out the back at the moment? Byron's Choice is definitely further back than I thought he would be. Cassio, Lewis Evans, another team needs to be runner one, really running away.
Someone's
on the
saddle's
outside
gone.
there.
Saddle's gone on
Which one's
the
that?
outside.
Late arrival. a very badly named horse.
Come on, Big Ben.
Joanna
It's
Mason
looking
cannot
good.
heard this. Right, here we go then, into the straight. Can the hoodoo be lifted? Broken
Come on.
spear, starting to warm up a bit. Byron's Choice got a bit to do. He's not been softened up though, G.
No, he's had a nice easy time. He's very short in running on Betfair. Come on, Sibbart, please.
Come on, the Sibbart. What's he got? Okay, then where are the mounters coming
Come
from?
on, Ben.
Looks
Come on,
like Byron's
Ben.
Choice been held up in his run. Come on,
on,
Byron's
Ben.
Choice needs a run. Sibbart, what's he got? Brave
Come on,
man.
Ben.
They're
2
attacking.
furlongs.
You got
Come
about
on.
it's a long old way to go. I said to him
Come
at the
on,
start of
Ben.
the season.
God, Giro.
Here he
Come
goes,
on, Ben.
Sibbart. This is the winner. Here
Come
comes
on,
Byron's
Ben.
Choice.
Giro.
And Byron's Choice
on.
doing
Oh,
Casio's
no,
assist. The big bear looks like he's going to get off the mark. Byron's Choice is coming for Dave Orton. Come on then, what can we do?
Giro, lift him.
Sibbart is doing him tweezers, man. Byron's Choice is going to get it. Sibbart's coming back. Aye, Byron's bear. Unbelievable scenes here on Racing Post Live. He thought he had it all the way. He probably went 101, we're about to told. Oh my goodness gracious me. Me and Chris Timms were on Byron's Choice. We're happy. He just picked him up. I'll tell you what, there's galling and there's galling. While we get the bear composing himself. Barry, you were on it as well, your nap of the day. You must have thought you had it.
Yeah, he was always susceptible to closer, and Byron's Choice, if he can go on back, although he had a Betfair SP at 9.0, but it's a back trade a low 1.13, which is 13 to 2 on. No good to me and G-Rod, but you're an absolute magpie, Rodway. Never again, I'm back to one with you. Magpie.
Oh, dear Lord Almighty, which of course means for superstitious people out there, if you just get a go, I'll tell you what, gee. Poste had never had a better highlight. He was absolutely loving that. He was cheering. We thought we had it. Just like in the first tip, it's been picked off. Byron's Choice, by the way. If you were out there, well done. Michael Dodds, 2 better than he went in the race in 2019. Broken Spears flying home, but that was a painful watch. And do you know what? I think I'm to blame somewhat. Because I said at the start of the show when we were describing the tracks that we had today, it's a slow watch, the final 2 furlongs, if one attacks at Beverley.
Yeah, and that was a slow watch, and I still thought I was going to win about a furlong out, Dave. But, really, you can't do any more than that, can you? I mean, the horse has jumped out, he's ridden a perfect race from the front, and he's had them all beaten, all ends up, apart from one who just come and beaten him. But I need to switch seats again. How many winners you had today, Post?
Only a couple.
I sit in that one next. Mate, you've had plenty.
Obviously, this is a lucky seat, let me tell you. You're not getting anywhere near this, man.
I'm not as quick on the computer as you, mate. So
Hasn't it been fun this afternoon? He nearly got there. That was crossbar and just over rather than stanchion and in. But there we are. I'll tell you what, someone once said to me, I told someone I had an incredible Oliver Twist row of seconds. More seconds than you could possibly wish for. And his good judge said to me that you should be delighted with that. Because it means your radar is on. You just need a little bit of luck to go your way. When are you next back on, man?
The Thursday of Royal Ascot.
Right,
Or the
okay.
Friday. The Friday of Royal Ascot.
Friday Royal Ascot. So Commonwealth Cup, find us the winner. Whatever it is, I'm greening up. I tell you what, it's going to happen.
It would be a great day to break the hoodoo, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
The Friday of Royal Ascot, the Coronation Stakes, just take out 3 or 4 in a row. It'd be beautiful, wouldn't
Listen, you're going to do it. Keep them coming in the paper, though, won't you? Barry, I'm glad you said before the last race it had been great fun.
Yeah, that small setback wouldn't have changed my opinion of that, lad. So, yeah, thanks. See you all again next week, hopefully.
Cheers, Barry. Happy days. All the best over there in Dublin. Coming out soon, of course, on their roadmap. We're pretty much out. It's been great to have you back in the studio.
yeah, it's been great to be back, and I think on Tuesday at Royal Ascot, which is my favourite day.
We're going to open it. We'll go through the card, no doubt. Don't worry
I'll
about
set it
that.
up for G-Rod, don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely. So Group 1, Charlie's back. Happy days. Brother from another mother at the Racing Post. And G, the bear, the angry bear.
Yeah, it's coming, Dave. It's coming. I've been saying that for a few shows.
It's coming. Don't worry, I'm about to go and buy him a bear. You go and have one as well, or whatever your favourite tipple is on this great Saturday. Thanks for watching RP Live.